Plaintiff Arthur Foltz is suing his daughter, 27-year-old X-ray technologist Jennifer Foltz, for money meant for her wedding. Arthur says Jennifer doesn't want him to be a part of the ceremony.
That's case number 120 on the calendar, the matter of Foltz versus Foltz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
You have brothers and sisters?
I have a younger sister.
How old is she?
She's 26.
And how long ago did your parents divorce?
I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Mr. Foltz, this is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint is that you gave your daughter $3,000 for her wedding.
Yes, ma'am.
And because of circumstances, you decided not to go to the wedding, and you want that money back.
Yes, ma'am.
And your daughter said that this $3,000 was an unconditional gift, and she's already spent it on deposits, etc., for the wedding. When is the wedding scheduled?
May of next year.
Now, how many children do you have, Mr. Foltz?
2 children, 2 stepchildren.
And how long have you been married to your second wife?
15 years.
And how old are those children?
21.
21
25.
and 25.
Okay. So let's get down to it. You called your dad.
Mm-hmm.
You told him you were planning a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You asked him for some help.
I actually didn't ask him for help. He said to me that he felt it was only fair that he pay 50% and that my mother pay 50%.
Well, that was very nice of him. So you had a reasonable relationship with him if he said that to you, at least now?
Up until, until recently, yes.
I want to ask your mother some questions, okay?
Come on up, Mom.
What's your last name?
Bean.
Your daughter told you initially, after she had spoken to her father, and her father agreed to contribute to the wedding, that it was her intention of having both of you walk her down the aisle?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were not happy with that?
It was not I was okay with it. I was fine with it. I was just worried that his animosity may create some problems.
Did you convey that to your daughter?
I already knew that.
Just a minute. That's not what I asked.
Yes, I did.
I'm asking you these questions, Jennifer, because, you know, if you've been around the block as long as I have, and as many times, nothing is new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting the following picture. When you spoke to your father, and he said to you, I really want to pay for half the wedding, and you told him that it was your intention to have your 2 parents walk you down the aisle,
mm-hmm.
he was pleased about that.
No, he wasn't.
Well, he says he was.
He wasn't.
Well, you don't know that because you weren't on the phone with him. But then later you told him that it was your intention only to have your mother walk you down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's then that he became angry.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I want my money back. I'm not going to the wedding under those circumstances.
Can she tell you what happened after that?
Sure.
Tell her what happened after that. The planning.
Yeah, as my wedding planning progressed, my dad just kept making demands on me as far as he wanted his own table, he wanted it to be up front, he wanted to invite certain people, and he was just putting extra stress on me that I was already going through with the wedding.
Okay. Well, how many people were you planning on having at the wedding?
80, 100.
Well, then, wouldn't it be normal for him to have his own table?
I think he was under the impression that there would be my parents having their own table and my fiance's parents having their own table, and he wanted to make sure he wouldn't be sitting with my mother.
So, what's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with that.
No, there isn't. Jennifer, there's not a lot wrong with that. If you had 2 parents who really got along beautifully with each other and they had this lovely relationship that had developed over the years despite the fact that they were not together, then there wouldn't have been anything untoward about them sharing a table. But if you knew that they did not enjoy that kind of relationship, then you should have been smart enough to say, you have your table with your family. Of course, Dad.
Yeah,
you
I
have
did
your
say that.
If you have your table with your family, and Mom will have her table with her family, or maybe Mom will sit with, what's the boyfriend's name?
Doug.
Mom is going to sit with Doug's family, and you can sit with your family. 80 people. You're not going to all sit at one table. So, I've just taken care of that problem. Now, what's the second problem that he raised?
He wanted to invite certain guests, and I wanted to have a smaller wedding. I didn't want strangers
What did he
at
want?
my wedding. Some close friends of his.
How many?
I think there were 2 of them.
That's reasonable, Jennifer.
Right, but if he wasn't even really involved in my life, why would he want to share that with other people?
Jennifer, you were willing to take his money, weren't you?
He offered
Just
it
a
to
second.
me.
You were willing to take his money,
Yes,
weren't you?
I was.
If you're willing to take his money, and if you said to him, and I want you and Mom to walk me down the aisle, and then you say, I changed my mind because he was making, according to you, unreasonable demands, I'm telling you, you're out of line. And I really wasn't prepared to go that way.
Listen, can I say something now?
Sure, you sure can.
I did not change my mind because I changed my mind because I'd always wanted it just to be my mom. It was my way of honoring my mom for raising me. I didn't do it to punish my dad. I didn't do it for anything other than to honor my mother. That's the only reason I made that decision.
Jennifer, my dear, then you shouldn't have told your father at the beginning, Dad, I want you and Mom to walk me down the aisle. You should not have told him that. Because what you're telling me now is, well, I told him that, but then he made these demands on me, which is what you said a moment ago.
It is what I said a moment ago.
Oh, yeah, he made these demands on me, which I now tell you as a third party, totally unrelated to you, were totally appropriate requests from a person who really knows. Because although my husband and I have made many weddings, we have a mixed family. Mm-hmm. So I understand what you're talking about. You're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. And you did the wrong thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said, I'm not looking forward to walking you down the aisle.
Arthur Foltz says his daughter Jennifer Foltz owes for money given towards her wedding. Arthur says Jennifer doesn't want him to walk her down the aisle.
Those 2 things that your father asked, to have a separate table, separate from your mother, and to invite 2 friends.
He also wanted his own limo. No.
Shh, just a second. Well, tell me about that.
He asked me if I was going to have a limo at the wedding, and I said, no, I don't need one. I'm just going to drive myself to the place, get ready there. Later on that evening, we got together for dinner, my father and I, and he said that he was going to have a limo for him and his friends.
So he didn't ask you to pay for it, did he?
No, he didn't ask me to pay for it.
So?
But I just thought that was a little, odd. It's my wedding, but he wants to show up in the limo.
Who cares? Who cares if he comes in a bus? Who cares if he comes in a long bus, a short bus? It doesn't make any difference, Jennifer. You're picking on him. You're picking on him, honey. Life's too short.
It just bothers me that I didn't have much of a relationship with him when I was a child, and now he's trying to overtake the wedding and be a bigger part of the wedding than I feel he should be.
Jennifer, you're being a big baby.
I'm not being a big baby.
Yeah, you're being a big baby. And if you have bad feelings about your dad because he wasn't there for you when you were growing up, lots of children of divorce feel that way about their parents, especially when their parents remarry and have second family, right? That they're involved with, that live with them. The kids feel as if I didn't have the benefit of really a full-time or even a part-time great parent. It's never too late.
I don't feel as if it's too late.
Well, you shouldn't feel as if it's too late. And it's a shame if your father doesn't go to the wedding. It's a shame if you have a wedding that doesn't include your father and his wife and your mother. Are you remarried?
No.
And whoever she wants to bring, if she wants to bring anybody, and everybody else who's part of your life. It's a shame that you don't have that moment. You will, listen to me, you will always regret it. Because, you know why, Jennifer? You'll always look at that book of pictures. And there'll be a bad feeling that he wasn't there.
You know what, though? When I told him that I wanted just my mom to walk me down the aisle, he said to me that I want nothing to do with your wedding. He took himself out of the wedding. I can understand he's hurt. I'm sure he's hurt. But if he doesn't go to my wedding, it's on his terms, not mine.
No, Jennifer, you're wrong. You're being young. You're being young. I disagree with him if what he chooses to do is to not go to the wedding. But I'm telling you, you're not a baby. You're a big girl.
I am a big girl.
And your mother should be a big person. And your mother should say, usually, if one parent walks a child down the aisle, it's usually their father, not their mother, unless their father's dead. And in this case, if you want to be a big person, and you want to be a big person, you say, for that 30 seconds that it takes to walk down the aisle, let's walk our daughter, our firstborn, down the aisle together and give her away, and then there'll be a picture of her family at her wedding. Because, you know, what can happen is 10 years from now, when you and Doug have 2 kids, and you and your father have hopefully reconciled, your children will say to you, "Where's Poppy's picture at your wedding?" And if you have not reconciled, then what you're doing is you're depriving your children of the widest possible community of love and affection.
I wouldn't be the one that would deprive them of that, though. He would be the one that would not make the effort.
You hurt him.
I know.
You
I
hurt him.
understand that.
You hurt him. He's supposed to be bigger than that. Your mother is supposed to be bigger than that.
I didn't do a thing.
Well, you did, Miss Bean.
Yeah, exactly.
You did, because you said to your daughter, and you acknowledged that you said to your daughter, "I hope he can get over certain things, and I hope he's not going to be hostile." And
In response to his hostility when
What?
she told him that we were going to do it together.
Madam, I'm talking about before you got there. Before you got to the point where she said, "I changed my mind, Dad. Only Mom is walking me down the aisle." Then he got hostile.
He was
Fine.
hostile before I changed my mind.
He was hostile from the beginning.
Looking forward to walking you down the aisle with your mother. And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because we know how that turned out last time." And I said, "Dad, you're not marrying my mother. You're giving me away."
Is that true, sir?
No, ma'am.
I mean, I don't understand how that could be true if he said to you, "I want to pay for half the wedding." In the same conversation, when he said to you, "I want to pay for half the wedding," and you're telling me now that his conversation was hostile?
Yes.
I don't believe you. Listen, Mr. Foltz, I could see I'm not getting anywhere. I've made my best efforts, sir. You gave your daughter $3,000 for the wedding. It was a no-strings gift. I hope you go to the wedding, and Jennifer, I think if you want to grow up to be a big person and your mother wants to be the loving mother that she is, you will decide that it's the right thing that both your parents walk you down the aisle. You still have plenty of time to do that and to make up so that you don't end up looking at that wedding album 20 years from now and saying it was really a sad day. Mr. Foltz?
Your Honor.
Say nothing. Say nothing. You made your daughter a $3,000 contribution towards her wedding. I hope she does the right thing with it.
I
That's
do
all.
have
Case
to say,
over.
Your Honor.
Others are excused. You may step out.
I think we're still both very hurt and angry, and I think that neither one of us really wants to take the step towards mending our relationship.
25 years ago, I tried to make amends to my ex-husband for the trouble that I caused in our divorce.
Her statement that I didn't raise her, and that's, you know, it's very hurtful to me.
25 years is a long time to hold a grudge. But I don't want to see anything between him and my daughter get worse and divide them forever.
My heart tells me that I love her, but I just don't think it's being reciprocated.
You know, my wedding's supposed to be a happy time, and it's turning out to be not quite so happy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martin versus Martin. Step forward.
26-year-old insurance sales assistant Karen Martin is suing her ex-husband, home improvement salesman Kevin Martin, for stealing her share of a tax refund. Karen claims Kevin forged her signature on the check.
Ms. Martin, the defendant is your former husband. It is your claim that there was a government refund check in the amount of $400 that was issued to both of you. It is your claim that Mr. Martin forged your signature to that check, cashed that check, and you want your $200.
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Martin says there was no check that he received. He did not forge your name to any check, and he, quite frankly, doesn't know what you're talking about. Okay. So let us assume for a moment that a refund check was sent to Mr. and Mrs. Martin. So your obligation now, Ms. Martin, is to establish that he forged your name to that check.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
Okay. I do have a copy of the check where it's signed by him, and that is not my signature.
Okay.
I do have other...
Okay, let me see it.
Okay.
Mr. Martin, the Family Service Center. You familiar with that institution?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about that institution, sir.
It's a credit union that we had, as we were married, had an account there.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to tell... clearly this check was sent to the two of you, and clearly it was endorsed by two people.
I never knew anything about the check. I never even knew that we were getting some kind of tax credit check.
How did you find out about the check, Miss Martin?
My cousin had received hers, and she had asked me if I got anything on it, and
These were the checks that were $400 that were issued to families by President Bush, is that right?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It was $400 per child, and she had received hers and asked me if I received mine, and I said, no, I didn't. And I had called Kevin, asked him about it.
And what did he say?
He said, still said, I have no idea what you're talking about. How do you, actually he said, how do you know that how does he know that I didn't forge his signature?
So, Mr. Martin, what I'm asking you is that the conversation you had, how do I know you didn't forge my signature, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the answer. The answer is you weren't calling her to complain that you didn't get your $200, right?
I never knew.
No, listen to me.
Okay.
You weren't calling her, Mr. Martin, to complain that you didn't get your $200.
No.
Because according to you, you didn't know about it. So why would she call you to complain? Listen to me. Call you to complain. If she had forged your signature to the check so that she got the entire $400 and you weren't calling her to complain about it, you get my drift, sir?
I understand what you're saying.
Old story. If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. And if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So somebody from your credit union cashed this... I'm speaking! Somebody from your credit union cashed this check with a signature that I have compared with the signature on your answer and with a signature that I have compared with the signature on Miss Martin's complaint. And while that's not necessarily dispositive of who forged whose signature, the signature on this check, your signature on this check, is eerily similar to your signature on the answer. While her signature on the check is no way similar to her signature on her complaint. So I put those facts together, and you know what I came up with? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. That's all. Step out.
All these are excused and they step out.
She's accused me of kicking her car, slashing her tires, cutting her brake line.
He has 2 domestic violence charges against him. I have a PPO against him currently right now.
She hates me. I left her.
There was multiple threats about bodily harm to me because I'm her new boyfriend, and it was the classic case of the husband being jealous of his ex-wife's new boyfriend. It's pretty cut and dry.
She won't leave me alone. She's made my life a living hell, and I'm just tired of it.
Well, you know, he knew that wasn't my signature. He knew it was his signature, and obviously Judge Judy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Slovic versus Jimenez. Step forward, please.
21-year-old office manager Jamie Slovic is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old construction worker Roman Jimenez, for unpaid rent, damaged property, and the return of household items belonging to her.
Miss Slovic, you and the defendant lived together. Take your hands out of your pockets. You and the defendant lived together for a period of time.
Yes.
There was an altercation between the two of you, and you claimed that Mr. Jimenez moved out. And when he moved out, he took with him a whole bunch of furniture that you had purchased on your credit card that you either paid for or are still paying for. In addition, you claim he owes you for half a month's rent and some eviction costs because you were ultimately evicted from the apartment. Mr. Jimenez says that you really locked him out of the apartment because you called the police, so stop complaining that he owes you any rent because he couldn't live there. He doesn't, however, address the issue of the furniture, which I will get to. So when did you and Mr. Jimenez live together, Ms.
We lived together for 3 months.
Starting when?
Starting from June of 2003 to October of 2003. And the reason why he had to move out is because it was court-ordered, or police report ordered, that he moved out of the apartment.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
That order was issued as a result of a complaint, correct?
Yeah.
And the complainant in that complaint was who?
Me.
Right. Well, that's pretty much what he's saying. He's saying he had to leave the apartment because you complained, which resulted in a court order putting him out of the apartment. So he's right. Right?
Okay.
Oh. Now let's get to the furniture.
Okay. When we lived together, we had nothing, and we purchased big pictures for the walls, a couch and a coffee table that we got before we moved in there, a dining room table, and a bed that we purchased while we were living there. All this stuff that, you know, we were supposed to be living together to pay off together. He had no credit, so we did everything on my credit. He couldn't get approved anywhere.
So far, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. When you moved out, did you take the furniture with you?
I took my furniture with me.
What did you take?
I took my pictures.
Pictures. Were those pictures that were purchased on her credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then how could you take the pictures if she paid for them?
Well, because I gave her some money too, and you know, she spent the money on that stuff, and I spent my money like on food and going out and stuff like that.
Going out.
We ate a lot. We ate good food.
Going out without me.
Shh. Don't talk to him.
Okay.
What else did you take with you, sir?
Pictures, pots, pans, some sofas. Oh.
Some what?
Oh, I took a futon, like a sort of
Just a
recliner
second.
futon.
Pictures, pots, and pans.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I have pictures and pots and pans. What other furniture did you take with you, sir?
I didn't take the furniture because the furniture was broken.
So you took nothing else but pictures and pots and pans. Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct.
What happened to the futon you told me about a couple of seconds ago?
Oh, it was kind of broken.
Did you take it?
Pieces of it.
Do you suffer from a mental disability?
No, I don't.
Unfortunately, Mr. Jimenez, I'm not kidding.
No, I don't suffer from a mental disability.
Then when I ask you a question, I want you to think about the answer, and I want you to give me an answer that's truthful. Pictures, pots and pans, and a futon sofa. Is that right?
The mattress. I took the mattress.
Took the mattress. And was that something that was purchased after you moved into the apartment?
Yes, it was.
So the pictures, the pots and pans, the futon, and the mattress were things that were purchased with the plaintiff's credit card that she paid for or is paying for and you took?
Correct. It was my...
Perfect! How much were those things?
Everything that he left me with is way beyond $5,000.
Listen, it's not what I asked you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He says he took pictures. Do you have the bill for the pictures?
This top one right here is one of the pictures.
And how much was that?
$47.99.
What else? Give me the figure.
Okay, figures $16.99, $15.99, $14.99, and $69.99.
How much was the futon?
I don't have the receipt just for the futon.
Oh, fine. So then forget that. Now, mattress. How much was it? He took it with him.
$580, I think, for just the mattress.
Go. Mattress, futon, pots and pans.
$256.22.
$256. $940.
Okay.
Now, listen to me, Mr. Jimenez. You cannot take property that was being paid for by the plaintiff because you wanted it.
She said all I had to do was cook for her because I like to cook. She said all I had to do was cook for her, and it was cool.
What?
I like to cook.
Just a second. Would you run that past me again in English and slowly, please?
Okay, she said that all I had to do was cook some good food, and it was cool. Just don't worry about it, baby, and that was it.
You have children?
Yeah, I have one son.
How old is he? How old is he?
He's 5 years old.
You have children?
No.
Very good. Miss Slovak.
Drama.
You know, sometimes you make a mistake, and what you have to do is you have to put a period and move on. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. You're a young girl. He's worthless. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. He used you.
Yep.
You took care of his son?
Yes, I did.
Once in a while. She went to the park with him once in a while.
You have to look up and say, thank you, Lord, because I was shown the light early enough before I had a child with him, or maybe two, before he totally ruined my credit, before he wasted the best years of my life. So you really should say thank you. And next time, store the information in your head and exercise better judgment. Right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $940. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was pretty violent. It was pretty nasty, I guess.
Oh man, we were wasted.
Well, everything was destroyed in the apartment.
She's jealousy, raving in front of, making a scene in front of people. I'm trying to push her away, trying to get away from the conflict.
You can imagine. It was pretty crazy, yeah.
She's mad over me, that's why.
He got away with it again right now. He just gets away with it.
She thinks I get away with anything, but I don't get away with nothing. You know what I mean? I had to put up with everything.
It's you know, whatever. I'm struggling to pay my bills. I don't make very much money, and it's hard.
Man, I'm used to her being emotional like that.
Be careful next time.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clark versus Muir. Step forward, please.
34-year-old loan officer Diana Clark is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old landscaper Brian Muir, for an unpaid loan for bail. Brian says it wasn't a loan, but rather a very nice gesture.
How old are you, Miss Clark?
34.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a loan officer.
Ever been married?
Yes.
Have any kids?
Yes.
How many?
2.
Do they live with you?
Yes, they do.
You their sole support?
Yes.
You're a nice-looking woman.
Thank you.
Got nice dimples. How old are you?
24.
He's too young for you.
Yeah.
Even when they're 34, they don't know much.
I agree.
But when they're 24, they know less. What do you do for a living?
I'm a landscaper.
Who do you live with?
My daughters,
How old are your daughters?
5 and 6,
Where is their mother?
not around.
For how long?
About a year now.
Who helps you care for your children while you're landscaping?
Their grandmother.
Okay. Miss Clark, according to you, you loaned Mr. Muir $500 for bail because they were going to come and arrest him unless he sort of liquidated some warrants that he had for something that I'm going to find out.
Correct.
And you were dating at the time.
Yes.
He paid you back a little bit,
A little bit.
but he didn't pay you back the whole thing, and then he stopped taking your calls. Mr. Muir says that it was a nice gesture on your part, but not a loan. That's your defense. Is that
Correct,
right?
ma'am.
Why did you need bail, sir?
Well, I had got into some trouble. I had got into a fight in my neighborhood. And the result of it, they put a warrant out for my arrest for 3rd-degree assault and breach of peace. And
Why did they put a warrant out? Did you not go to court when you were supposed to?
not right away, ma'am.
No. Did you expect an engraved invitation this next time?
No.
Did you expect someone to come in your house in a tuxedo, perhaps, and bring you over to jail? You just decided to blow it off.
No, I was waiting until I was financially stable to take care of.
You were waiting until you felt like it.
No, I was waiting until I was financially stable.
Financially stable. And when did you think that was going to be, Mr. Muir?
Well, I had just started a new job, so I planned on doing it as soon as possible.
How did Miss Clark find out there was a warrant outstanding for you?
It was brought up in a conversation that we were having at a friend's house.
And when you told her about the warrant, Mr. Muir, what did you say?
I just said, I have a warrant, and I have to turn myself in.
And she said?
And she said, anytime you want to turn yourself in, I'll be glad to help you out.
How much later did you call and tell her you needed her help?
It wasn't but a few days.
So a few days later you called her or you went to see her and told her, well, I'm ready to turn myself in, I need your help?
Well, I was over a friend's house, and when she came over there, I told her that I was going to turn myself in, and that's when she offered to bail me out, Your Honor.
How did you know that he needed bail money when he turned himself in?
He called me from the bail bondsman's phone.
Really?
Yes.
You forgot about that.
Actually, Your Honor, I did not call her from the bail bondsman's phone. The bail bondsman lives next door to my friend, and I had talked to him beforehand, and I had let him know that if I needed to be bonded out, that I was going to use him.
Go ahead, Miss Clark.
No, he called me from the bail bondsman's phone and said that he was at his home and he was going to be turning himself in. Could I go ahead and bail him out like I had told him I would do?
When did he make his first payments to you?
April 16th.
And when did you bail him out?
April 13th.
And how much did he give you on April 16th?
$50.
When did he make his next payment to you?
April 23rd.
How much?
$40. There was, just so you know, there was a previous amount that I had loaned him also. So that part of what I have written down here was applied to what he owed me previous to that as well.
What did you lend him money for in the past?
He wanted to go back to his hometown to see his friends for his birthday.
Your Honor, if I may, the money that I did pay her back, she had brought me home to see my friends and family. The money that I did pay her back was the money that she loaned me. She never said I had to pay her back for this bail, Your Honor.
I paid her back $130. That's what she loaned me when I went to Boston.
$130?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did he pay you all together?
$230.
So you gave her $100 in interest?
No, I only gave her $130.
She says you gave her $230.
I only gave her $130.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
So that if I find that this was a loan, you owe her $500, not the $370 that she says. Is that right?
That would be correct.
Good. Mr. Meir, did Miss Clark assault anybody?
No, she harassed.
Just a second.
No,
Did she
ma'am.
assault anybody?
No, ma'am.
Did Miss Clark have a warrant issued for her arrest because she blew off letters from the police?
No, ma'am.
Who did? Raise your hand.
I did.
Raise your hand.
Me.
Higher. Raise your hand all the way
I
up.
did.
What makes you think that she should take care of your bail? She's a working woman. She's got 2 children that she supports. Why in the world would she pay for you and you feel no drive to pay her back as quickly as possible?
She has spent abundance of money on me. Abundance. She took me out for my birthday and spent well over $1,000. If that was the case...
Foolish.
If that was the
Foolish,
case,
because I want to tell you
her money
something. She must see something in you that I don't.
It's the good looks, Your Honor.
Have you looked in the mirror lately?
Yes, I have.
Mr. Meir, you have 2 children, 2 little children, that you say are in your custody because their mother is off somewhere. That means that the only chance your children have of growing up to be responsible adults is if they have you as a responsible parent.
Correct.
You were foolish enough to hook up with somebody who turned out to be a non-parent and dumb enough at your age to make 2 babies. Now it's your responsibility to grow up and fly right. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $370, because that's all you're suing for. That's all. Out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
She should find somebody her own age and not somebody as young as me.
He's going to say anything he wants to make it look like he's a better person than he really is.
She approached me and she wanted to get together with me, and that's how it started.
Well, we met at our kids' bus stop, and it proceeded from there. Yeah, I did approach him.
To be older, you should know better.
There was a big age difference there, and I should probably not have done anything with him.
18-year-old laborer Sherry Powell is suing her former friend, 17-year-old Lise Chouinard, and her mother Paulette for lost wages and pain and suffering due to an assault. Lise claims Sherry slept with her friend's boyfriend.
Yes, case number 315 on the calendar in the matter of Powell versus Chouinard. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
What's your name?
Rianne Curry.
Rianne?
Yes.
You already pled guilty in this assault, is that right?
Yes.
Did you think you were coming to a dance today or something?
No.
Miss Powell, according to your complaint, this young lady assaulted you. And according to your complaint, she pled guilty to the assault, which she clearly says she did. But you said you claim that she was assisted in that assault by this young lady.
That's correct.
Who held you down, held your hair, and you, while she assaulted you.
That's right.
What's your first name?
Lise.
What?
Lise.
Why did your friend assault her?
It was over an ex-boyfriend.
What's the ex-boyfriend's name?
Greg.
How long ago was Rianne with Greg?
About a year ago.
Was Miss Powell ever with Greg?
I don't think she was. I think she just had slept with him.
Is that what she was annoyed at?
Yeah.
So Rianne was angry because she thought, right or wrong, that Miss Powell had been involved with her ex-boyfriend.
Well, her ex-boyfriend had told her that he had slept with her.
During the time that they were still together?
Yes.
Could you do me, you're her mother?
I sure am.
Good. Why don't you sit down? Because you're just here because you have the deep pockets. Step up here, Rianne. Now, when Greg told you about this assignation, did you beat him up?
No.
Did you punch him in the face?
No.
Did you kick him in the groin?
No.
Why not? Did you think that Miss Powell held him down?
No.
So why did you get angry with her?
Because we were acquaintances at the time, and...
So you think that because you were an acquaintance of Miss Powell, she owed you more loyalty than the boyfriend that you had with whom you were sleeping?
No, but
I'm just trying to get the rationale. You got a boyfriend with whom you are intimate. And how long had Greg been your boyfriend?
a few months.
And you are crazy about him, right?
Not totally.
Well, I assume that if you were intimate with him, that you had some feelings for him. Is that right?
Yes.
And your boyfriend, with whom you have been intimate, says to you, when you weren't around, I slept with Miss Powell. You start to cry, right? You got upset?
A little bit.
Did you yell at him?
Yes.
What did you say?
Many things. It was a year ago.
When did you assault Miss Powell?
October of last year.
And when did your boyfriend tell you that he had been intimate with Miss Powell?
September of last year.
Now, between September and October, had you seen Miss Powell?
Not really, no.
So the first time you saw her is when the assault took place, is that right?
Yes.
And where was that?
At Pool Hall.
And Lise was with you?
She wasn't there in the beginning, but she came around, yeah.
And she's a friend of yours?
Yes.
Had you told her about Greg's confession?
Yes.
You see how it all fits in? You want to know why? Because it's common sense. That's why it all fits in. Tell me what happened when you saw her.
I had seen her and...
No, look at me. Don't look at the floor. Don't look at the water. Look at me.
I had seen her in the pool hall with him, and I got...
With Greg?
Yes.
Oh, she was with Greg in October. Is that right, Miss Powell?
We were friends, and at the time, she was dating his brother, who's Matt.
Okay. But you were with Greg, and you were no longer with Greg.
No.
So you saw her, and she was with Greg. And what did you say to her?
At first, I didn't say anything to her, and then when she had come outside, I had confronted her.
What did you say to her?
I asked her what the problem was, and that's when...
Well, I didn't hear about any problem. What do you mean, what the
She
problem
disrespected me, that's the
How did she
problem.
disrespect you?
By sleeping with my boyfriend.
Disrespected you?
Yes.
Your boyfriend disrespected you?
Yeah, that too.
Okay. And what did she say to you?
She said, what are you talking about? And I basically said, you know, well, what I'm talking about. And that's when a fight broke out.
No, that's just words that I hear so far. Mm-hmm. After you said, I don't know what you're talking about, what happened, Miss Powell?
On that note, I did not say anything before it happened. There were no words said besides some name-calling from her to me before she hit me.
Where did she hit you?
In the face.
With what?
With her fists.
And where was Lise at the time?
Lise was standing behind her, maybe about 5 feet behind her.
No. Anybody else with them?
Greg was walking with me outside, and Matt was outside, who at the time
Matt was
Rianne's boyfriend.
And then what happened?
She started hitting me, and she's saying, come on, Sherry, hit me, hit me. And at the time, it happened so fast that I barely knew who it was. I had no idea what she was doing or why she was doing it. And she went savage.
Okay, she's already acknowledged to the police and to the courts that she assaulted you. What I want to know is what Lisa's participation was, if any.
There were some words said.
By whom?
I said, what the Rianne? Like, I was totally confused. She said, what the Sherry? And then she was hitting me and scratching me and pulling me by my hair. I had turned her around because before I was up against a concrete wall, and she was pulling my hair and hitting me, hitting my head off the wall. So I turned her around to get away from the wall. And as I turned her around, I took control of her. And then Lise came in because she knew that I had some control. And she started pulling my hair.
From behind?
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then Greg said, she's Matt's brother, Rianne's ex-boyfriend, said, you have nothing to do with this, Lise, get away. And from what I understood, Greg had taken her away, but I think that she had backed away.
You mean Lise?
Yes.
Okay. How long did she hold your hair?
Maybe about 10 seconds, not even.
While she was holding your hair, what was Rianne doing?
She was hitting me and scratching me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. 18-year-old Sherry Powell says her former friend, 17-year-old Lee Schwannard, owes for an assault. Lee says she was trying to break up a fight between Sherry and her friend.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
When they were fighting, I was in the car with my two friends. Rianne had been taking a little while, so I went to see where she was in the pool hall, but they had been outside. And I came in, and Sherry had Rianne by the throat against a brick wall, and my first intention was to pull her off of her. Like, this girl's way bigger than my girlfriend, so I was like, Kate, no, this is retarded. So I pulled her off there, and then that's when Greg told me, back off these, and I was like, Kate, yeah. And I stood there, and they finished their fight. And then we left.
Why did you put your hands on her?
to pull her off my girlfriend.
You have no right to do that.
Well, if you, like...
You have no right to do that.
Yeah, but she was sitting there hurting.
I don't, listen to me. A, I don't believe that you weren't there and didn't see how it started. Don't believe your cookie. Don't believe your cookie. You knew exactly what was going on because she's your friend, and you knew she was angry at her.
But I wasn't even there when it started.
Don't believe you, my dear. Don't believe you. It's just too coincidental that at a time when she seemed to be getting the upper hand, you stepped in. Just too coincidental to me.
I stepped in for 2 seconds to get her off Rianne. That's what I did.
When you got her off Rianne, did Rianne continue to assault her?
Rianne wasn't even hitting her when I pulled her off. Sherry had Rianne by the throat and had her fist out like that.
Sounds right to me. Sounds perfect to me. She started it. She hit her first. She confronted her first. She assaulted her first.
Yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened. I'm not saying that's not what happened, but I pulled her off my friend. I walk in and she's got my friend by the throat. My immediate reaction is to do that. Like, what else would I do? Just sit there and be like, oh, you can go and hit my girlfriend?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Because then you wouldn't be standing where you are. If I believed you, which I don't, because I find that somebody who can't even figure out that their shirt is supposed to meet their pants when they come to court is not going to tell me the truth.
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I stand up here and lie?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. I have no reason to sit here and lie.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, I don't. I have no reason. No. I don't even talk to her no more. This has been a year ago.
Let me explain to you why you do. Because she's suing your mother. Because your mother is responsible for you. She's suing your mother for $5,000 because you permitted, at least for a period of time, your friend, who also doesn't know how to dress when she comes to court, to assault her by holding her hair and allowing her to be hit. You did that.
But that didn't even happen.
Do you have a police report, please?
No, they would not release it to me.
Do you have a hospital record?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
I have a picture, too.
Okay.
I have a police statement. Would you also like to see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I have an apology letter from Rianne.
Do you have a separate lawsuit against Rianne?
I haven't sued her. I do intend on suing her in higher courts. So far, she had just pleaded guilty in Canada.
When?
For assault. On October 8th this year.
Okay. Step up, please. What's your name?
Matt Duke.
You were there that evening in October, sir?
Yeah.
Tell me what you observed with regard to this young lady holding the plaintiff.
She was in the car when Rianne was starting all this stuff, and then when she came out, she didn't know what was going on. I just seen her run past and try to go and help out her friend like anybody else would. And my brother pulled her off before she could get involved, so it wouldn't be a 2-on-1 or anything like that. And in the meanwhile, I told Rianne, that's enough. No more fighting. That's when the fight stopped.
Sit down, genius. What did you plead guilty to, Rianne?
Assault into Sherry.
Were you sentenced yet?
What I have here is my 12-month conditional discharge.
Can I see it,
is what
please?
They gave me.
Can I see it, please? She wrote you a letter of apology because she was directed by the court to do it.
She wasn't directed.
No, I offered.
Who just said that to me? Which one of you two geniuses said I wasn't directed, she offered it? Who said that?
I did.
Okay. This assault happened in October of 2003, is that right?
Yes.
If your friend was truly sorry for what she had done, the letter of apology would have come not a year later, but the next week. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. The letter of apology, which was directed by the court. It's here in the order. This is the dumbest bird. You just have to listen to this. That a court accepted as an apology letter. I didn't have to write this letter of apology. I chose to. What happened between you and me was a huge waste of my time. But I'd like you to know that you should be apologizing too because of what you did to me. I have to let it go because I've realized a lot about both of you. I know how hurt and angry you'd be if another female stabbed you in the back like that. The both of you are in my past, and I've moved on to better things. So, on my behalf, I apologize for doing what I did to you.
Touching.
Touching, and the future of our country. Future of our country.
Or theirs.
Or theirs. Oh, Canada? Oh.
Can I make a note on that
Listen!
letter?
You have no right to put your hands on another person. She has no right to put her hands on another person. If your boyfriend disrespects you by fooling around, you do what's necessary to him. You can move out of the apartment, kick him out of the apartment. You can break off all contact. You can yell and scream. But as long as there is no allegation that someone held him down and forced him to submission,
No.
It's his fault.
She had a part. It takes two to have sex. Like,
she's not your boyfriend.
No, she's not.
She's not your boyfriend. She wasn't even your friend. According to you, you knew her. She owes you no allegiance. You weren't married. You weren't engaged. You had a boyfriend for a couple of months. What do you do? I mean, do you work? Do you go to school? Do you do anything?
Not right now, no.
You don't do anything?
No.
You better find something to occupy your time. Judgment for the... What?
She's also pregnant with his kid.
Oh. How fortunate for the people of Canada. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Sherry's a fat cow who shouldn't even be getting anything.
She took her frustrations out on me.
She was attacking my friend, and she's 10 times the size of my friend.
I had taken control because I knew that this girl was crazy.
I got over-tempered.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
She's mentally freaking touched in the head.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Callahan versus Colarusso, step forward, please.
Business owner Dawn Callahan is suing her father's ex-girlfriend, homemaker Dee Colarusso, for the return of her late mother's desk. Dee claims the desk was abandoned.
Ms. Callahan, Ms. Colarusso is your father's former girlfriend.
Correct.
According to your complaint, your father has a desk that belonged to your mother, who passed away, and the desk was to be yours. He was bringing it to you. And he stopped over at his girlfriend's house, and for some reason he left his truck there for a while, and the desk. They subsequently broke up. She has your desk. You want it back.
Yes.
You have a picture of the desk?
No, I don't.
Do you?
No, certainly.
I'd like to see it, please. Oh, it's a pretty little lady's desk.
Yes.
Where is it? In your living room?
No, it's upstairs in my bedroom.
How long do you know Miss Callahan?
I'd say approximately a year and a half. Year.
Is she a nice person?
At times.
When did your mother pass away?
April 26, 2002.
Was this her desk?
Yes, it was.
Did you tell Miss Colarusso that it was your mother's desk?
Yes, I did.
When did she tell you that?
To my recollection, I had never heard anything about it except that Lynn moved it into my home 2 months after he moved into my home.
He did?
Yes, and left it in my garage.
Yes.
It proceeded to get mildew, all kinds of markings, and all the rest of it. I had a couple of friends come in, empty it out, put the stuff into a green bag to lighten it so they could move it upstairs into my upstairs apartment, and they did so. So no, it's been receiving much better care.
Well, that's very nice, but it's not your desk.
Well, I consider it storage fee.
I don't care what you consider it. You had a storage arrangement with him?
No.
Well, if you didn't have a storage arrangement with him, my dear, then you can't say I'm taking the desk for storage fee.
I took his car for storage fee.
Listen to me very carefully. It doesn't belong to you. It's not your desk. Romance is over. It's over. You can't just decide you're going to protect the property that doesn't belong to you and then somebody said, I want my desk back. Say, well, I took it upstairs and I've been taking care of it, so now it's mine. You have to give her back the desk 5 days from today. Make arrangements with the mover. You want to leave the desk upstairs and have her mover bring it downstairs, or you want your mover to bring it downstairs?
Who says it's her desk?
I do! Now, that's her father. Whose desk is it?
My daughter's desk.
Right. belonged to her mother. She wants her mother's desk because she doesn't want you to have it. And it holds absolutely no sentimental value for you whatsoever, just mad value because you're not together with the prize package anymore. She gets a desk back in 5 days. I'll sign the order. That's it.
Excuse me?
What?
My paperwork, all my mother's legal paperwork that was inside there, 401ks and everything. Can
I don't know where that
is.
is. Where is it?
Gone.
What did you do with it?
It went out with the trash. All the trash that Lenny had dumped.
It's gone. Listen to me. It's probably gone. She's not nice. She's probably mad. Did he dump her?
In a nice way.
I don't care whether it's a nice way. It's never a nice way to a lady to get dumped. Did he dump her?
Yes.
That's what she did with your mother's stuff that was inside the desk.
Okay.
Dumped it. Got it?
Okay.
The desk you get back. 5 days.
Okay.
And it better be in good condition. That's all.
Thank you.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
I'm very happy I'm getting my mother's desk back.
I would not harm somebody else's antique furniture.
I've been nothing but nice to her and did favors for her, and she turned around and done this to me.
I'm not punishing his daughter. He owes me $375.
It was my great-grandmother's and given to my grandmother, to my mother, and now to me.
The desk is only worth $250.
Just want it back.
Somebody owes me money. I want it back.
Provider Christine Coughlin and her 5-year-old daughter, Katara, are suing their neighbors. Customer service rep Chanel Noel and her daughter, 8-year-old Sequoia. Christine claims Sequoia purposely scratched her car with a rock. Chanel is countersuing, claiming Christine's son slashed her tires.
Order. All rise. This is case number 341 on the calendar in the matter of Coughlin versus Noel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Coughlin, it is your claim that this young lady, I assume this young lady, vandalized your car. She was a friend of your daughter's. They played together. For some reason, they had a misunderstanding, and you claim that she took a rock, scratched your car. Ms. Noel says that her daughter was not alone. Don't deny that she did it, but you say she was not alone, and that in retaliation for that, your son slashed the tires on her car. So she's got a counterclaim. Are you neighbors?
Yes. Yes.
How far away do you live from each other?
Right next door.
What was the date of the incident involving your car?
August 29th, 2004.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see pictures of the car. What makes you think Sequoia damaged your car?
They were all outside playing, all the children, with Katara, and Katara came in the house crying, saying that Sequoia upset her. So I said, okay, we'll stay in the house. After that, I went out to do laundry, and I noticed a big scratch on the side of my car.
Okay. Now, what proof do you have that Sequoia did that damage to your car?
It's in the police report. She had admitted doing it.
Can I see the police report, please? Sequoia, you want to tell me why you scratched the car?
Because her and her husband and her son, they were constantly keep calling me like retarded, well, I don't want to say
it.
They kept calling me and
That's
stuff.
not true.
Yeah. And they kept going on with it, and I only thing that I did was tell my mom.
So that's why you scratched the car?
Well, they were calling me retarded and stuff.
I'm asking you a question. That's why you scratched the car with a rock? You can't do that. Did your mother tell you couldn't do that? Well, you can't. If somebody says something nasty to you to hurt your feelings, that makes them wrong. That makes them not smart. But that doesn't give you the right to damage their property. Got it? Did your mother tell you that?
Yes.
Okay, how much is it going to cost to fix the paint on the car?
Approximately $921.
Do you have an estimate?
Yes, I do. It was scratched before. The estimate I do have, I'm sorry, is $361.56.
361?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you want to tell me about the damage to your car and when that happened?
September 19th.
What happened?
I went to take my son to his football game. I came back to pick her up to go to the football game. I came back downstairs and my tires were sliced.
Who did it?
Well, I assumed my next door neighbors did it.
Well, what proof do you have that they did it?
I didn't have any proof at the time.
Do you have any proof now?
Actually, I have a witness that overheard her son bragging about the second time they sliced my tires 3 days after that.
I'll hear the witness. You're the son, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. Tell me who you are.
Tanisha Cooley, their babysitter.
What do you know about the tires being slashed on Mrs. Noel's car?
The day after the tires were slashed in school, me and my friend were walking down the hall. We were walking behind him and his friends. And I heard him saying that, yeah, yesterday me and my dad sliced our neighbor's tires.
And when you heard that, what did you do?
Right after school, when Chanel came home, I told her and my mom.
Same day, is
Yes.
that right? Were you angry?
Yes, I was.
And what about your father? Was he angry?
Yes.
That's not a way to respond. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
So why did you do it?
I did not.
So you're telling me this young lady is lying
Yes,
about this
I
last... Yes. Why do you think she would make up a story like that?
I don't know.
Who would you think would have another motive to slash their tires?
Nobody to my knowledge.
Not you or not your father? So you think she's lying?
Yes.
Did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
Can I see the police report, please? You can sit down. Could you stand up, please? Is this young lady your daughter?
Yes.
I want you to think back to the 23rd of September. I want you to tell me about the conversation you had with your daughter when she came home from school.
She told me that she overheard Michael saying that him and his father slashed the tires.
She told you that on the 23rd?
Yes.
What's the name of the person that he was with?
I don't know them.
In school? You don't know who they are?
No.
How many other boys was he with?
2.
You have a bill for the tire that was slashed on the 22nd?
I don't have a bill. I paid to get my car done. Here.
Well, I need a bill for the tire. That's what we're talking about. Tire was $16.53?
Used one.
Look, I believe her. I just want you to understand that. Whether you were just bragging, I don't know. But I believe that she heard you say it. So I'm deducting $16 from the award of $361 that you're entitled to have your car painted. I haven't a clue why people who were neighbors engage in a course of conduct to make their lives absolutely miserable. It's just so absolutely ridiculous to me. There's no question that your daughter behaved badly. I assume that as a parent, you told her that when someone says something that's hurtful to you, they are really just stupid, uninformed people, and not to pay any attention to it. I assume that you had that conversation with her. And if you didn't, you have to have that conversation with her, that she can't take out her frustrations, because she's just going to end up in trouble. What?
Well, she wrote on our wall and on our hallway wall, and my mom has to pay for that. And she wrote on theirs too.
Are you making an excuse for yourself? Don't. If she does something wrong, like write on a wall, how old is she? 5. And how old are you?
8.
You're supposed to know better, and you're not supposed to make excuses for doing the wrong thing. And you're certainly old enough to know better. All right, take your children home. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $345. I've deducted the $16 for the tire that your son and probably your husband was responsible for. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've also had my tire slashed 3 times.
They got problems. I'm done.
Her daughters pushed shopping carts into my car.
Just mad.
The little girl is very angry. She's very angry. The mother works 12-hour, 14-hour days, 6 days a week.
She was mean to me.
It's something that's going to be ongoing until Mrs. Noel gets help with her child.
25-year-old home appraiser Amanda Knockhart is suing her ex-boyfriend, 27-year-old basketball coach Ethan Jordan, for a loan, a trip to Las Vegas, and for kicking her in the ribs.
Yes, this is case number 243 on the calendar in the matter of Knockhart versus...
Concerned there must be something really hidden about you that I don't see. What? Whatever. Okay. Now, he's a sponge.
Yes.
That makes you pretty dumb. Right?
No.
Sure it does. You know somebody a month, you invite them to come into your home, they pay you nothing. Must do something. Do you have a big home?
No, he was supposed to get a check that was mailed to his ex-girlfriend's house. That's why I never saw the money.
Look, you say, I met him, he moved in.
Correct.
And you agreed that he could use my car to get to and from work if he paid the insurance and the maintenance. That's what you say.
That's right.
So evidently he worked, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Usually when you have a job, you make what?
Yeah, but he got fired.
Money. And when you have a job and you make money, you take care of your expenses, like rent and food and electric and gas, unless, you know, you're a sponge. So according to you, he did not pay for the insurance on the car.
No.
So why don't you throw him out?
Well, he was supposed to be getting a big check, like I said, for $2,000, and the check was mailed somewhere else instead of our residence, and he apparently spent the money.
And when did he get the check?
February.
Well, what happened in February when you knew he got the check and he spent the money on something else? Did you throw him out?
No, he had another job at that time finally and was supposed to get the paychecks. Then he got arrested and his lawyer that he owed money to was suing him. I couldn't get any of it at that point.
At that point, what you're supposed to say is, I am a reasonably intelligent person.
Right.
I'm living with somebody that's taking advantage of me. Get out.
Right.
Unless you're in love and everything is going to work out okay and you're really not interested in the money, you're really interested in the relationship, and the only reason you come to a point where you're interested in the money is because you're not together anymore.
No, he did start staying at a friend of his house more often.
When?
That was in May, because...
I'm talking about February, March, April.
Okay.
Nothing. Goodbye. All right. What's next? What else does he owe you money for?
A vacation that we took together and for medical bills.
All right. So let's go to the vacation. When was the vacation?
February.
Where did you go?
Las Vegas.
For how long?
February 22nd to the 29th.
You wait to drink later. And was he working at the time?
He was going to Las Vegas to work.
Was he working at the time?
Nowhere else, no.
And what was your arrangement?
He was working the convention there, the magic show, and when he returned...
What do you do for a living?
Your Honor, I have always, since she's known me, maintained an occupation as a basketball coach at the YMCA. I still work there today.
What were you doing in Las Vegas?
Oh, I modeled for a clothing company.
So you were modeling?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get paid?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much did you get paid? Do you remember?
Not entirely. Not exactly. I think it was like $1,500. Some, give or take.
And who paid for all the expenses to Vegas?
To Vegas? She did.
Well, why didn't you compensate her for that?
When I got the news that I was going to Vegas, I had all my... They flew me out. They flew me out. They would room me, pay for airfare. I had a place to go. She decided that she wanted to go to Vegas. We sat down. We planned out the whole trip. Okay. When we got to Vegas, she, you know, her and I would disagree, as usual. And she went one way and I went another. I stayed with a friend. That's it.
How many days were you there?
In the hotel room, I think I stayed 1 day.
Okay, how many days?
1.
Okay, so you put him out after 1 day?
No, he only stayed 1 night away from me. He tried leaving me in the middle of Las Vegas by myself. Yeah. So I tried catching a flight home, which would have costed me a lot more money than...
How did you get to Vegas? Did you fly?
Yeah.
You flew? Well, his ticket was paid for.
No, it wasn't. I have the credit card receipts right here.
Oh, well, she says it wasn't paid for. Did
Your
you
Honor,
get... Were you reimbursed by the company for your airfare there?
Normally they would have, but I opted to go with her since she wanted to go with me.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, he slipped. All right, how much was his plane ticket?
$345 for
his
the
plane
airfare.
ticket. Okay. And how much was the hotel room?
$214.76.
For both of you?
No, I divided all the costs by 2.
So it's clear to me that you were compensated, Mr. Jordan, for that. If you weren't, you were paid $1,500, probably plus expenses. You got the check. I assume you got the check to cover your expenses as $559. So far, you're off $559 for this trip to Las Vegas. What else does he owe you for? Don't say anything else. I'm giving you so far every benefit of the doubt, more benefit of the doubt than I usually would give to somebody who acts so dumb. What else does he owe you for?
The rental car.
Listen to me. Leave Las Vegas. Get on to something else.
Doctor bill.
Now, tell me about the doctor bill.
Ethan abused me, and I had to go to the doctor's.
When?
5/8.
Tell me what happened on May 8th.
He kicked me in the ribs, broke 2 of my toes, threw me.
Well, tell me about the argument.
I don't know what actually the argument was about.
And how did the verbal argument escalate into a physical argument?
He came dashing from the living room, charging at me.
And?
Threw me against the kitchen cabinets, picked me up, threw me on the floor, spit on my face, and kicked me in the ribs.
Did you call the police?
I called my friend to come get me.
Did you call the police?
Not at that point.
When, after May 8th, did you call the police and report it?
I had a personal protection order put out on him on July 22nd. I didn't call the police on that incident.
Why not?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
Mr. Jordan, you want to tell me what happened on May 8th?
Your Honor, I do remember the fight that we got into. I don't remember why I attacked her, but I do know that that was not the only incident that became physical between either one of us.
Did you suffer any injuries on May 8th, Mr. Jordan?
Your Honor, I've got scratches all over me, but I didn't go to report him. I didn't go to the hospital or anything like that.
I see the doctor's report. Did you take her to the hospital, doctor, or whatever?
I don't remember her going to the hospital.
No, I took myself there, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Knockhart, after May 8th, you went back to live with him.
He started staying... No.
Are you telling me that between May 8th and June, which is when you said you separated, because you said you separated in June...
Correct.
You didn't live together at all?
I stayed at my mom's a lot more because...
I'm not asking you a lot more. I'm asking you at all, Miss Knockhart.
Not that day or not the next day.
What about the third day?
Yes.
And when you went back the third day, did you share a room together?
No.
Not ever between May 8th and June when he...
Yes. Once or twice.
Miss Knockhart,
yes.
I have no idea what this bill is for. This says that the closing date of the statement is May 8th. The doctor says that he saw you on April 23rd with regard to an assault. I would have assumed that if somebody broke your toes during the course of an assault, you would remember the month and date that it took place.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume that. Listen, are you her mother?
Yes, I am.
She lives by herself?
Yes.
How old is she?
25.
She's probably not old enough to live by herself.
No, she's more than capable. Her judgment in men aren't that good.
Her judgment isn't that good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Linda Knockhart says her ex-boyfriend Ethan Jordan beat her up and broke her ribs. She's also suing for a loan and a trip to Las Vegas.
Where are you living now, Mr. Jordan?
I live with my brother.
You pay him rent?
No.
Problem is not an answer.
I wish her the best. I have no hard feelings for her, man. I hope she gets, whatever's coming to her.
Is suing his ex-girlfriend, Kim Hicks, and her son, 15-year-old Wendell Hicks, for medical bills resulting from a fistfight with Wendell. Wendell says Jeff had been spreading rumors about him and a female friend.
Yeah, this is case number 275 in the case of Radcliffe versus Hicks. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Mr. Radcliffe, you and this lady, Miss Hicks, had been involved in a relationship. And according to your complaint, there was an altercation where you came to her rescue. She was having an altercation with her son, I assume this young man. As a result of that, you were injured, and Miss Hicks agreed to pay your medical bills. She has not done so. You are no longer a couple, and you want your medical bills paid. Ms. Hicks says that you were the aggressor in this altercation with her son. She is suing you for damaging her home and for injuring her son. Is that right?
Correct.
When did this take place, Mr. Radcliffe?
It was July 8th, 2003.
Tell me how it started.
Well, we received a phone call at the house.
Who's we?
My son and I.
Who answered the phone?
My son. And
Step up. I wasn't saying hello. I was telling you to stand up. Tell me your name.
Alex Ratcliffe.
Alex, did you receive a phone call on the 8th of July?
Yes, I did.
Who was on the other end of the phone?
Initially, I heard Kim screaming in the background.
Kim, is that you? Miss Hicks.
Miss Hicks. I initially heard her screaming in the background, but Wendell was talking to me, and he asked to speak to my father. And when I went to go give my dad the phone, I heard her in the background screaming for help and asking for my dad.
You went and got your father?
Yes, I went and got my dad and gave him the phone.
What happened when you picked up the phone? Who was on the other end?
It was Wendell Hicks on the phone, indicating to he was coming to my house to kick my butt, him and 4 boys, because I was supposedly spreading rumors about him and some girl in the neighborhood.
So he said he was coming to your house?
Yes. And he hung up. I returned the phone call back. Could still hear Kim hollering and screaming bloody murder in the background.
What did you hear?
She was just screaming for help.
Well, what did you actually hear her say?
For Wendell to leave her alone.
Okay.
And when the phone call came, I called back because he had hung up, and I'd asked for him to explain himself. For why is he coming to my house? He said it was due to because I supposedly spread some rumor about him putting a hickey on the neighbor girl's neck. And so I asked to speak to his mom because I could hear her in the background just screaming bloody murder, and so he hung up the phone. And so I felt the need to go there because she had explained to me many times before.
Just a second. Don't tell me what she explained to you before. Tell me what happened when you got there. You felt the need to go over there.
I went over there, knocked on the door, and the boy had let me in. I come in the door, and
Which boy let you in?
Wendell Hicks let me in.
Go ahead.
He opened the door, let me in, and I come through the door, and to the right of me was 2 friends of hers in the house. And Wendell proceeded to go back around the corner where he had his mom pinned in the corner, and she was screaming.
How was she pinned in the corner?
Just backed up to the corner.
Okay, he didn't have his hands on her.
No, he was right up in her face.
No, but he didn't have his hands on her.
Not at this time.
Okay, so what did you do?
I come up around him, come around the countertop there, and told him to leave her alone. He turned and swung at me and hit me in my left ear with his right arm. At that time, I took him down to the ground and set on him. And he kept trying to hit me in the face, and I grabbed his wrists to avoid him hitting me. I was sitting on him, and I kept asking, "Are you finished? Is this out of you?" And he said, "Yes." On top of him saying a lot of other foul things, how he's going to shoot me and my kids, and he was going to kill my dogs and burn my fence down. And after about 15, 20 minutes of trying to calm him down, I asked him, "Are you finished?" And finally he said, "Yes." I got up, we kind of shook it off, and the next thing I know, he's come charging at me with a windmill effect. And in doing so, I put him in a headlock, like with his body sticking out this way, and I wrenched up on him to keep him from doing any more damage. And in doing so, I separated this cartilage here in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And probably another 15, 20 minutes to hold him like that. A few other cuss words are coming out, and I asked, "Are you finished?" And finally he said yes. His sister come through the door after I just let him go, and she backed him all the way down the hall, and that was the last I'd seen of him.
Okay. How long had you been seeing his mother in July of 2003?
Approximately a year.
And after July of 2003, did you continue to see her?
Not right away. She kept calling, complaining because I would never take her nowhere, never do nothing with her, never let her meet any of my friends. I told her to go find another boyfriend. And so it's like, it was no big deal to me, and she did. She found another one. She kept calling me, telling me how the progress was going. Finally, after about a couple of weeks, she broke it up with him for whatever reason, then she eventually started calling me all the time.
When did you stop seeing her?
As of this year of May, Mother's Day weekend.
And when did you start getting these bills?
I was getting these bills probably 6 months after the incident had happened. You know, she said she was going to take care of it because her son had done some damage to my fence back in June. She took care of that immediately. She said she'd take care of these medical bills as well because I...
When did she tell you she was going to take care of the medical bills?
Pillow talk. It was when we were, you know...
And you believed her?
Oh, yeah. I had no doubt to.
Okay. How old are you, Wendell?
I'm 15.
Who was this girl that you supposedly gave a hickey to?
Emily.
Is Emily your girlfriend?
No.
Did you give her a hickey?
Yes.
So why were you angry at Mr. Radcliffe for telling people that you gave Emily a hickey?
Because he was spreading rumors around the trailer court, and I had...
Spreading rumors about what?
About me giving her hickeys and a bunch of other stuff.
Well, it wasn't a rumor about you giving her a hickey. According to you, you gave Emily a hickey.
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay, so why did you call him that day? Were you just angry?
I was mad that he was spreading my family business around the trailer court.
Okay, so when you called him, his son answered the phone?
Yes.
And what did you say to his son?
I asked to talk to his dad.
What did you say to him?
I was like, "Jeff, why are you spreading rumors around?"
And what did he say to you?
He's like, "What in the F are you talking about?"
And what did you say to him?
I was like, about me and Emily
And he was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So he hung up with me. So I went back to my mom's house and I asked her why. She told him because it was supposed to stay between me, Emily, and Emily's stepdad.
Because Emily's stepfather was angry with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went home and you confronted your mother?
Yes.
And you were angry with your mother for telling him
Yes.
things? And then did you call Mr. Radcliffe back?
He called me back.
While you were confronting your mother?
Yes.
And when you were confronting your mother, were you raising your voice?
No.
No. Did your mother admit to you that she had shared your secret with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
And you told her she had no business doing that?
Yes.
You see how I get into the story?
You did very good.
It's a whole different story than she wrote in her answer, but at least we're going to get to the bottom of it. You got to start with the most vulnerable one.
That's right.
Right? You got to start with the one who's not quite swift enough to tell you a lie. Now, when Mr. Radcliffe came over to the house, were you still arguing with your mother?
No.
What happened when he came into the house?
He came up, banged on the door. The door came off the latch. He just came in, and then he came up and got in my face, and I asked him what was going on.
He got in your face?
Yes.
And what did he say when he got in your face, Wendell?
You effing little punk.
Well, he must have been angry because you must have said something to him, Wendell, like you were going to come over and kick his and get your friends to come over because he was spreading these rumors about you and Emily's hickey. Did you threaten him?
No.
You mean you just said why? You just said like this.
I said
What?
it in a rude voice, yes.
In a rude voice?
In a rude voice, yeah.
And did you have the same kind of rude voice when you were talking to your mother?
No.
You mean you went over to her and you were very, very calm when you say, why did you share private information
Yes.
with
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Radcliffe? You said it quietly.
Not quietly, but in a normal voice.
Now, did you have any injuries as a result of this altercation with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes, my back was killing me.
Your back was killing you.
Yeah.
When did it stop killing you?
Oh, a couple days after.
Now, your sister, at one point, came into the room when you were having this altercation with Mr. Radcliffe.
Yes.
Your sister's name is?
Jessica.
And how old is Jessica?
She's 19.
And Jessica took you out of the room.
Yeah.
Right. She said, calm down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Oh, you're good. You are good.
Can I see your medical bills, please? Now, Mrs. Hicks, did you ever tell Mr. Radcliffe that you would pay his medical bills?
No, ma'am. The only injuries he got was a couple rug burns. When he come up to my door and was banging on my door, he busted my door to pieces. He come in. Me and Wendell was standing in the kitchen talking. He got in his face. Wendell goes, Jeff, can you back up? And Jeff took his hands like this, went boom into the side of the cabinet. And Wendell was going like, you know, like this. What are you doing? He just started attacking him. He took him down. He broke my stove. He had him on the floor, punching him in the face.
Miss Hicks, listen to me very carefully. What you're telling me is that Mr. Radcliffe assaulted your son for no reason.
They got into
Shh. Is that right?
Yes.
And I have a question for you. After July 8th, 2003, did you ever sleep with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Even though he assaulted your son without provocation. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3 days after the incident.
So 3 days after, it wasn't even 6 months later, it was 3 days after the incident that you, the mother of this assaulted child who had terrible backache from being assaulted without provocation from Mr. Radcliffe, went to bed with him.
Yes.
Mm-mm. Mr. Radcliffe, this is your problem, sir. I believe what you told me with regard to how this incident happened. Not everything. I think that you probably busted the door a little bit. I'm not sure whether Wendell opened the door calmly and said, why don't you come on in? I'm not sure about all those things. What I don't believe is that she agreed to pay your medical bills. And we know, I gather from these papers, that there is currently an action pending against you for stalking Miss Hicks. Now, I'm not getting into that, but according to Ms. Hicks, you did not file this claim for your medical bills until a couple of days after she either filed and or served you with this stalking complaint, which is well over a year later, a year after the incident. So the issue that I have to resolve is whether she put you in harm's way or you put yourself in harm's way when you went over to her house. And there were several things that you could have done on the 8th of July. One of them is if you actually believed that Miss Hicks was in danger, you should have called the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, girlfriend Kim Hicks and her son, 15-year-old Wendell Hicks, promised to pay his medical bills after he had a fist fight with Wendell.
Now, you were angry because Wendell over here opened up his big fresh mouth to you and you went over there. And this altercation occurred because of that, because if you were genuinely concerned with Miss Hicks, you would have called 911 and said, get a squad car over there as soon as possible. Her son's beating her up. So you were annoyed with Wendell and you went over there to confront him. And if you got hurt, that's the way it goes. Case is dismissed. That's all. Shows your counterclaim.
Always are excused. You may step out.
He broke my door down. He assaulted my child.
He has no respect for no one, let alone himself.
She showed my dad, myself, and my brother all the bruises that she's gotten from all of her kids before.
I have never had any bruises on my body.
He's a bully of the neighborhood. He wants to pick on anybody and everybody.
They can think what they want to think. I know the truth.
The only reason why she filed this stalking order is because I've got a new girlfriend.
Larry Lane is suing his ex-tenant, collections agent Kay Thomas, for unpaid rent, stolen property, and legal fees. Larry says Kay and her family are professional squatters.
Now, this is case number 419 on the calendar, the matter of Lane versus Thomas. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks have a seat.
Mr. Lane, Miss Thomas was a tenant of yours.
Yes, that's correct.
And it is your claim that she owes you for rent, certain property that she took from the apartment or house that she had rented when she ultimately moved out, and that she also owes you for filing false charges against you in her application for a protective order. You claim that Miss Thomas and her family are professional squatters.
Yes, I do.
Which means that they go into people's homes, they rent them, they pay rent for a while, and they stop paying, and since it takes very often 6 months to a year to get them out, they don't pay rent, and they go from place to place, and that's a scam.
It is a scam.
And you're prepared to demonstrate to me that Miss Thomas and her family have a history of doing the same kind of thing to other landlords.
Yes, I do.
And I'd be interested to hear about that. In any event, when did you rent? Is it an apartment or a house?
It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, upper middle income with
When?
a pool. February, I rented her the home. She signed a lease on February 27th.
Of 2004?
She moved in on 2004. She moved in on March 15th, 2004.
Who moved in?
Valina Thomas, and the premises were leased to her and her daughter. In addition to her moving in, she moved her brother in.
No, just a second. Who signed the lease?
Valina Thomas and Thomas.
Is that your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was the rent, Mr. Lane?
I asked for first, last, and the security deposit, $1,250, Your Honor. $1,250.
I'm going to ask the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to give me the answers. If I need for you to expand, you're going to do that
Thank you.
for me. $1,250 a month.
$1,250 a month.
And they gave you first, last, and security.
That's correct.
Okay, so they paid for March, and it was a year lease?
The check for March, Your Honor, was
No, was it a
dishonored.
year lease?
It is a year lease, yes, Your Honor.
The check for March was what, sir?
The check for March was dishonored by the bank. She alleged that her girlfriend had given her a $569 check.
Okay, so the
But
check for March was bounced.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she ever pay March rent?
She did, Your Honor.
Okay, when did she pay March rent?
She paid March rent prior to April 15th.
And she paid April's rent?
She did pay April's rent, Your Honor.
And what about May?
She did not pay May's, June's, or July's.
Shh. Did she and her husband and the rest of the people that she moved into the house, did they live there May, June, and July?
Yes, they did, Your Honor. They lived there through August.
Through August?
Well, actually, they had abandoned the property, and I lived out of state, and I repossessed the property with a writ of possession on July 29th.
I just want to know,
Yes, ma'am.
when was the last time they lived in the house?
I wouldn't know. I didn't come back to the property until August the 7th.
Okay, when was the last time you lived in the house, Miss Thomas?
July 31st.
Fine. Can I see your rent receipt from May?
Did not pay the rent from May till
June.
Why? You lived there in May.
Yes, ma'am. The rent was due on the 15th of every month.
Right.
I paid April's rent from April 15th to May 15th.
Right.
We notified Mr. Lane that my husband's job was transferring him. First, we notified Mr. Brown when we paid April's rent that my husband's job was transferring him to Sarasota, Florida, which is 2 hours away from where we were living. He said, just let me know the date when you're going to be moving. Told Mr. Lane called. He said, I'll tell you what. He says, you paid half of May's rent, and I will return your security deposit if you're out before June the 15th. However, when I asked for a letter stating the fact, everything changed. He sent me a 3-day notice to vacate. Then he sent me another 3-day notice from a realtor company.
So what?
A month later.
So what? Months later, you were supposed to be out. Why weren't you out in June?
Because he didn't follow his agreement either.
Why weren't you out in June?
Because our house wasn't ready that we were moving to. And
then why didn't you pay rent?
We told him we were moving. And he said that...
Just a second, I don't understand something. Just a minute. Miss Thomas, if what you're telling me is that you moved and that's why you didn't pay rent, that's fine. What you're telling me now is that you told him you were moving, but you didn't move because your house wasn't ready and you didn't pay rent. Just a second.
Okay.
Let's get to objective facts.
Okay.
Miss Thomas.
Okay.
Who is this?
This is my daughter, Heather.
All right. Is she a witness?
Yes, she is.
Fine. Then, unfortunately, she has to stay here.
That's fine.
If you live in an apartment or a house that doesn't belong to you, pursuant to a lease, if you live there, you have to pay rent.
I agree.
I don't want to hear any baloney about why you didn't pay rent.
I never said I didn't know it. I owe him for May and June.
Oh, well, that's not what you're saying here.
I have it.
Just a second. I don't see in here that that's what you say, that you owe him for May and June. Let me see. In June, we could no longer afford the premises. That's what you wrote in your answer. That's what you swore to. Mm-hmm. And also, we found out that my husband was being transferred in the latter part of July.
Yes, ma'am.
What does that have to do with May and... Stop playing with your papers. So that has nothing to do with May and June's rent.
I agree. I mean, we owe May. We owe May and
Okay,
June.
let's move on. We informed the plaintiff that we would be moving, and Mr. Lane was not very happy. He said that if we paid half of May's rent, he would refund our deposit when we moved. However, the money we had given him when we moved in was enough to cover up our rent until July, so we weren't going to pay him anymore. You got a whole bunch of excuses here, and you can't seem to keep your story straight. You lived there in May, you lived there in June, you lived there in July, and you didn't pay rent. Nowhere in your answer do you say, well, I do owe him for May and June.
I've always said I owed him, even in the court doc.
Would you do me a favor, please, Bird? Would you show this answer, this sworn answer that she signed to her, and ask her, maybe I missed it, you know, I don't know how I scored in reading. Show me in your answer where you say you acknowledge that you owe him for 2 months' rent.
I never acknowledged that I owed him for 2 months' rent.
Until now. Oh, fine. Fine, then we get it now. Now you owe him for 2 months' rent.
Well, I also acknowledged when we went to Brevard County Courthouse that I owed him for 2 months'
Just
rent.
a second. I'm not talking about any place else that you went when he tried to get you evicted. I'm talking about small claims court, which is where you are. So you forgot to put that down in your answer that you owe him for 2 months' rent.
Okay.
Is that right? You forgot.
Yes,
fine. You owe him for 2 months' rent. So
Yes,
your rent was $1,250 times 2 is $2,500. So that you owe him. That you acknowledge you owe him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Says ex-tenant Kay Thomas owes for 3 months' rent. Larry says Kay is a squatter.
Now, when did you start eviction proceedings against her?
I attempted to start eviction proceedings in May.
So you already knew that this was a lost cause with these people?
I didn't believe it was a lost cause, Your Honor.
Well, then why would you choose to evict them?
I put a 3-day notice on her door precautionarily.
Sir, they owe you $2,500 for the 2 months' rent.
What about July, Your Honor?
Shh. Just a minute.
Okay.
Now, did you get first month's rent and last month's rent?
I did, Your Honor.
Just a second. Listen to me. The last month's rent would have been July. Is that right, Mr. Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the security deposit?
Well, Your Honor, there was extensive damage to my home and legal fees.
How much were your legal fees?
$691.
Okay. And what kind of damage was done to the home?
Well, Your Honor, the screens on all windows were damaged. All the blinds were damaged.
Do you have any photographs?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see them, please.
I also have receipts for blinds.
How did these windows get broken?
Can I see those pictures? I haven't seen them.
Sure.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have pictures also.
I'd like
the day
to see them.
before we moved in and the day we moved out. Would you like to see those?
I would.
These are the two screens that he's claiming on the kitchen. That's the 31st. You can see that those are not broke. Living room blind, kitchen, and the other one that we admitted to. These are the two that we admitted to as far as the blinds go. The dates are on them, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so I have broken blinds.
And can I clarify something really quick? He said that me and my husband and my daughter moved into the house. I have two daughters, and he met them both. He also came 2 days before he left for Bay City, Michigan. He came to my house, my last residency, unannounced, but he came.
You mean the new place?
The old place. Prior to moving to his residency, I lived in Cocoa Beach, and he came to my residency 2 days before I signed the lease with him.
Yeah.
He's talking about me moving my brother and my sister-in-law in. He met them. He knew them. He knew they were going to be staying there with us for a month or so till they found their own place.
Mr. Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant acknowledges at this juncture that she owes you 2 months' rent. I would take that and be happy.
What about the furniture she stole?
Now let's get to the furniture.
All right.
Show me pictures of the furniture.
I can't. I can only show you receipts, Your Honor, because I'm
What
having
furniture did
photographs.
you take, Miss Thomas? You indicate that you took some stuff from the house.
I didn't take anything. I sold it.
You sold it?
Yes, ma'am. I have receipts to that, where I sold it to and how much I sold it for.
Let me see.
The last 2 pages.
Miss Thomas, why would you sell property that didn't belong to you?
I sold the dining room set and the bedroom set.
Why would you sell property that didn't belong to you?
We had an agreement in the lease for me to purchase it.
You mean you purchased it? Did you purchase it?
No, we did not pay it in full. No, sir. No, ma'am.
Okay. So you had a provision in the lease if you wanted to purchase it, but you didn't purchase it, and yet you sold it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you can't do that.
I understand that. I did it out of anger because of what he done. He tried to have my electricity cut off.
Your Honor, I have a subpoena from Florida Power and Light showing that I didn't turn her power off.
You tried.
But not only had she given him a false security number to get her power, she bounced checks on him, and that the power was turned off. And here it is, Your Honor,
Can I see it, please?
along with the subpoena.
Fine.
She also gave him a false address where she was moving to send the final bill. I corrected it for Florida Power and Light so they can collect from this deadbeat.
Shh. You owe money?
Yes, I'm paying them $75 a month. Yes, ma'am.
For money that you owe them?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you got to pay your bills, madam. If you don't pay your bills, bad things happen. They turn off your lights, they turn off your water, they turn off your electricity. That's what happens when you don't pay your bills. Listen, you can't sell property that doesn't belong to you.
That.
You didn't pay your electric bill. That's why you're paying $75 to make up what you owe them.
Your Honor, her lights were turned off June 26th. Okay.
Not interested in that. How much is this stuff worth, sir? Dining room table with a hutch, a wicker bedroom set,
King-size bed,
king-size bed.
armoire.
How much did she agree to pay in the lease for the things that she sold?
She was going to pay $50 a month, but never consummated that.
No, Mr. Lane.
She was going to pay $50 a month and the balance on conclusion of the lease.
Okay,
the lease agreement shows
$50
that.
a month
Paragraph 22,
times
page
12 is $600.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the balance upon the termination of the lease, what was the furniture sold for, Mr.
The
Lane?
furniture was sold for $1,250.
$1,250 in total.
Total.
Is
Yes,
that right?
Your Honor. Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Then that's what you owe him.
I understand that. Never said I didn't owe him for it.
Yes, you did. Show her the answer. She said the stuff he left in the house was a bunch of junk.
I was referring to
Just a second.
I was referring to the refrigerator.
Show me in here where
It's
you
not in that
acknowledge that you owe him money for the furniture that you sold.
It's not in there, ma'am.
Right. It's not in there.
I was referring to the refrigerator.
Mr. Lane,
yes, ma'am.
I would like you to give me whatever proof you have that the Thomas family are squatters and scammers.
Yes.
So far, I would tend to agree with you.
Your Honor, I did a background investigation, and I should have done this prior to it, but my grandson was in a hospital. This shows that she was evicted This is a background investigation from the internet that shows 6 bad checks and cable fraud.
Anything else?
Yes, I do. She currently is in Bradenton, Florida, in a diversion program for first-time offenders for bad checks. And I don't know about anything else, Your Honor. I just knew
Is that all
this...
correct? Are you
The bad checks, yeah, a bad check, yes, ma'am. It was the first-time offender where I wrote a bad check, yes, ma'am.
It was the first time you got caught.
No. No, it's
It was the first time you got caught.
Your Honor, this account...
I don't understand you, Miss Thomas. I don't understand why you believe. How old are you?
19.
Well, you know, she's not a baby, so she can be here.
Your Honor, this
Listen.
account was written on a closed account, which she alleged somebody had given her a check.
You already gave him a bad check.
May I see that account? May I see that account, please? Yes, ma'am. And I took care of it. As soon as he told me that it had not been paid, I gave him the money. Care of it.
Okay.
Took it out of the account.
I see it.
So
Your
it
Honor,
wasn't
she
that
told me that the check had bounced and yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lane,
Yes,
how long
ma'am.
have you been a landlord?
This was the first time I rented a piece of property, and I must have had stupid written right across my forehead.
That's true.
I understand. Your Honor, I have one other thing I'd like to say briefly.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, there was property in my garage, and when I reported my furniture missing to the police, they said it was a civil matter. They couldn't do anything. But the property that I had in my garage was a side-by-side refrigerator, a Craftsman lawnmower, and a power edger. She disposed of that equipment. I went back down to the police department. They sent me out to her house to inspect again to see if the property was moved indoors or in the backyard. And as I tried to go in, she had me arrested for battery.
He was not arrested, Your Honor. He was never charged.
She filed charges.
I have police reports.
Did you get your refrigerator back?
No. And the other landlord,
You didn't get it back. Did you get anything back that was in the garage?
No, I didn't get anything back.
Where's
Not
the
even
stuff?
the keys to the house.
Where's the stuff? I'm not talking about the keys. Where's the stuff?
Can I explain what led up to that?
No. I just asked you where the stuff is.
It's gone.
What do you mean it's
Mr.
gone?
Brown.
It went to the refrigerator ferry. Where did it go?
We got the junk guy got it because it was no good. The gasket on it was broke. It wasn't keeping the air in. It was leaking water. He left it. He did not want it.
Just a second. When did you get rid of it?
July the 8th.
Well, if it was bothering you, why didn't you get rid of it when you first moved in instead
We
of
were
July the 8th?
we were in the process of cleaning out the house, getting everything done. We had talked to Mr. Brown. He said he was given to you, whatever. Mr. Lane didn't want it. Do whatever you wanted to do with it.
Did you say that to her?
No, ma'am.
We
Of
even
course
cleaned
not.
it out.
Of course not. Well,
Your Honor.
what you're supposed to do is
also-
I'm speaking. What you're supposed to do is stop making excuses.
I'm not making excuses,
Well,
Your
you
Honor.
did. You made excuses. You made excuses to
But
me.
he's saying I destroyed his house. He inspected the house on
I'm
July
not
the 21st.
talking about the inspection of the house. I'm talking about several things. I'm talking about the rent that you owed him.
I agree.
For $2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm talking about the furniture that you agreed to buy, which you didn't buy, which you sold.
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe him $1,250. I'm talking about the merchandise that was in the garage that you disposed of the same month that you moved out. The same month that you moved out. You didn't say to me, listen, he had all this junk in the garage and I was paying for the garage, so when we moved in, I got some junk guy to come over and get rid of it. You disposed of it the same month that you were moving. Ms. Thomas, you did the wrong thing. And what you're supposed to do, put that down. What you're supposed to do when you do the wrong thing, especially if you have a child here, is you're supposed to say, I did the wrong thing.
I did. I mean, I did that.
Well, you didn't admit it to me in the answer. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all. Goodbye.
What is our excuse, Mr.
The previous two landlords, she also squatted on them and sold their property, including a refrigerator as well. I would advise any landlord to look at property research records and make sure that they're talking to the exact reference, because she gave me false references in this case. I started to walk into the house to inspect it. She went like this in the doorway. My belly touched her belly, and next thing I know, I've got an officer wanting to arrest me for assault. If you're going to be a landlord and if you haven't done it before, hire a property management firm. I am not a property manager. My office manager of the insurance agency is a great office manager, But he's not a property manager either. They know how to evict them, they know how to detect them, and they know how to background check them. I'm glad that I was able to come to Judge Judy because I know she's the only woman in this world that would be able to give these squatters the tongue lashing that they needed.
Ex-boyfriend Derek Jones for personal property.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2063, Martin versus Hancock Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Martin, how old are you, sir?
I'm 46.
Who is this with you?
This is my girlfriend, Kimberly.
Case is not unusual, but sad. Mr. Martin, you had a long history of drug addiction.
I did.
From when to when?
From 2002 until December 1st, 2020. I've been clean for 2 years on the 1st of December.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Did you manage to get clean by going into a residential facility?
I did, yes.
How long were you in a residential facility?
I was in 23 days in an inpatient facility, and I was just over a month in an outpatient facility.
Are you currently working?
I am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a production manager for a soap and bath bomb company.
How long have you been working for them?
A year yesterday.
Are you in touch with your folks?
I am.
Back in their good graces?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a time when that wasn't true.
Correct.
This is what I gather this case is about. Miss Hancock was your girlfriend.
Yes.
For how long?
We dated from November 2019 until April 2020. We separated for a few months and got back together in July 2020 and separated again in September 2020, so 7 months.
And it would be a fair statement, sir, that the reasons that you separated on both instances is because you relapsed into using drugs.
Yes.
And it would also be a fair statement that the first time you left the house at the defendant's request, you were unsuccessful permanently from ridding yourself of addiction, but you thought you were okay and you asked her to take you back.
Yes.
And she did.
Yes.
And you would have to acknowledge to me that made her, A, a forgiving person.
Very.
And someone who cared about you.
Yes.
I say all that to you because it's not my job today to exacerbate what appears to be a strained situation, which I assume from your papers has resulted in a final protective order in favor of Miss Hancock, keeping you away from her for how many years?
Permanently.
That was resolved, and it was resolved in her favor probably, and I don't know this for certain, probably with a plea from you.
Yes.
And when you enter a plea, the judge always asks you, you understand your right to have a trial, you have a right to examine witnesses, you have a right to call witnesses, and by making this admission, it is the same thing as a guilty verdict.
Correct.
Judge did tell you that.
Yes.
I assume. I mean, I remember making those statements many, many times a long, long time ago. I'm surprised I still remember any of it. And you're supposed to remain away from her.
Yes.
So the first question I have, well, I know why you're here. You're here because you say the last time she threw you out, and she threw you out not only because she found drugs that you were using again, but she had a fear that you were selling drugs out of the house, and she couldn't be involved with that, which is perfectly legitimate. You would have to acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
You'd also acknowledge, and I'm reading these papers sort of between the lines, your complaint, her answer, and the countersuit, that Miss Hancock had a child.
Yes.
A son.
Yes.
How old? When you were
15 at the time.
And uber impressionable age, and the fact that you were abusing drugs in the house, it really exposed him to something that a teenager shouldn't be exposed to because his mother has feelings for that person who's drug addicted.
Yes.
And I assume you had warm feelings at some point for this 15-year-old.
Absolutely.
At the time, your parents had asked you to leave the house.
I was living with my parents at the time. Jennifer asked me to move into the house because Mr. Jones had placed a GPS tracker on her car, and she was concerned about her safety with him.
So you were dating at the time?
Yes, I was living with my parents before I moved in, yes.
Okay. Was that a happy situation?
At the time it was, yes. It didn't get difficult to
moved away from that. And when you moved in with Miss Hancock, according to you, you were not paying rent.
Correct.
You were, in fact, working.
I was.
And according to, that's what you say in your papers.
Yes, I bought things for the house. Yes.
Those were exactly the words that you swore to. You said, I also spent over $10,000 on things for her place.
Correct.
In lieu of paying to live there.
Correct.
What things did you buy?
I bought a dryer.
Dryer?
I put $1,200 into her son's Ford, fixing it. I bought...
Okay, so you paid for some things for her son. What else did you buy for the house?
We went to Costco several times and spent $1,000.
Okay, so you
towels.
went, just a second. I'm not interested in Costco several times. Yeah. You know, you do use toilet paper, don't you?
Absolutely.
What else did you buy for the household?
I bought a battery for a Ford car. I bought a Keurig. I bought a rug, towels. I paid for the vacations while we were together. I bought some home lights for the outside.
Come on, keep going. What else did you buy?
And
what else did you buy for the house? So far, we're not close to $10,000.
That's all.
Well, you swore to the fact that you spent $10,000, that you bought things for the house in lieu of rent. So far, you've given me maybe $2,500.
Okay.
And that includes a couple of trips to Costco. So I want to know, what else did you buy for the house? Did you buy televisions for the house?
I bought televisions.
Just a second. How many televisions did you buy?
I bought two.
And how much were they?
One was $1,700, the other one was $500.
What else did you buy for the house?
Those are the only items I remember buying for the house.
Great. Now, what items do you claim that, because that's what this is about so far, what items do you claim that Miss Hancock kept that belonged to you when she told you to leave the second time?
I have text messages saying...
No, don't tell me text. I don't want to hear text messages. I want to hear what items you claim are your property that she kept when she told you to leave the second time. That requires things: a fishbowl, a guppy, a pair of shoes, a tie. And if you say any of those things, I'm going to throw you out of here because I don't waste my time over guppies.
Yeah.
So tell me what you are alleging that she kept.
2 TVs.
Okay.
An entertainment center.
Just a second. You didn't tell me you told me you bought an entertainment center. What did you pay for the entertainment center?
Originally, I paid $1,200.
What else?
I'm also asking for the return of a rehab center that she was kicked me out of, $2,500.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Keep going.
Okay. And then 47 Nintendo 64 games.
47 what?
Nintendo 64 games.
Okay. Now, so, Mr. Martin, because I'm going to make short shrift of this case, as you can see right now, and your girlfriend looks like a nice lady. I don't know why you're here. You seem to have problems with boyfriends. You got to start picking them better.
I do.
This one put a tracker on you. This one, you have a protective order permanently. You have to figure these things out before ultimately you get very hurt.
Brian Martin claims his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Hancock, and her ex-boyfriend, Derek Jones, owe for personal property. Jennifer and Derek are countersuing for harassment.
Okay, so far, all the things that you told me that you bought for the house barely add up to the $10,000 that you swore that you purchased for things for the house in lieu of paying rent. Do you understand?
I do. If I may also add, when we were separated the first time, I sold my marital home for $47,000. I cashed it at my bank and I put it into an account with her that I was an authorized user on. I did not get that money back because she removed my name from the account. So that money also went to purchase things while we were together that were for the house. I don't remember specifically what we bought. It was close to $20,000 that wasn't returned.
But Mr. Martin, I can understand that. But you know, this is a court.
Okay.
This is not a guessing game. This is not a game show. If you're saying that because of whatever reason you put your money into an account that she had access to and you spent money together, I mean, it was a time that was a fog. Did Miss Hancock and or Mr. Jones ever return any property to you or to your parents' house?
They did on November 20th.
That was in 2021?
Yes.
What month in 2021 did they return things to your parents' house?
It was November 20th to the 21st during the night.
Were you present?
I was not. I did not live there.
So I would assume that you found out that that property was delivered to your parents' house from either Miss Hancock or your parents.
My parents.
And your parents aren't here today.
They are not.
Your girlfriend was not there when they were delivered.
I have signed affidavits from them.
From whom?
From my parents about the property.
Are your parents in any way disabled, or are either one of them in the military?
No, my father was in the military, no longer.
Well, that's the only reason you don't come in person to court if you're disabled, and I might accept an affidavit, or if you're unable to come to court by virtue of the fact that you're in the military. None of those things apply here, so I'm not taking any information that you have in an affidavit. Suffice it to say that they did, over a 2-day period, return a lot of property to your parents' house.
Yes.
And that, based upon my rough guesstimates, because you can't help me out anymore with that you swore in your complaint, Mr. Martin, that you spent in lieu of rent $10,000
Yes.
in the home.
Yes.
And that was specifically because you weren't paying any of the household expenses. Yes. And all of the things that you added up to me, I don't know what 47 video games are, but I assumed that the 15-year-old played them more than you did. She says they were gifted to him. I don't know whether they were or they weren't. Certainly, if you want them back. Do you still have any of the video games?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you want the video games, sir, or do you want to leave them where they are?
I would like them.
You would like them?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Hancock, I'm going to make this as easy as possible. I would like you, not the boyfriend, I would like you to pack up those video games. And do you live in the same town, area, whatever?
Close enough.
Is there a police precinct where you can drop them off?
Yes.
Do you know what precinct number that is?
I don't know the number, but I'm happy to drop them off at Bountiful City Police Department.
Got it?
Yep.
Within 5 days from today, package up the videos that you have. She's going to give you back your video, your 47 video games. Okay?
Okay.
Take a breath. You have to say it's over. Tell me about your new girlfriend. Are you living together?
We are, yeah. She's great. I love her.
She's great?
She's amazing.
And you're fine?
Yeah.
And you're working?
Mm-hmm.
You have to put a period to this.
Yes.
A real period.
I know.
Okay? Ms. Hancock, you and are you currently together, or is this an ex-boyfriend?
Ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend. Well, you seem to have problems with boyfriends. You got to start picking them better.
I do.
This one put a tracker on you. This one, you have a protective order permanently. You have to figure these things out before ultimately you get very hurt.
Absolutely.
Okay. I read not only your answer, and I've resolved Mr. Martin's claim. He is going to get all of his videos back. You know that Ms. Hancock and Mr. Jones have a cross-claim for harassment.
I do.
And that was not made part of the criminal case, any restitution.
No.
It was not. Did the district attorney request any restitution?
No.
Why not?
I was actually not involved. It was a criminal case, not a civil.
Well, you were the complainant in the criminal case.
The state of Utah is the one who filed it.
But you were the complainant. They may have filed it.
It actually says right here, state of Utah is the plaintiff.
Of course.
So,
I know that
I did contact the police and ask them to do this.
So you were the complainant.
Okay, yes.
You know, it's the state of New York versus John Jones. It's the state of Utah versus John Jones, but there has to be a complainant.
Yes.
Somebody who was robbed, somebody who was the victim of stalking, somebody who was the victim of an assault. That's the complainant. That's who you were.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Did you ever ask the district attorney for compensation for lost wages or anything else that you suffered as a result of this stalking?
No, I was not aware I could actually do that.
Okay, well, that's not something that I consider, but there is part of your counterclaim that is particularly troubling to me. And it is your claim on the counterclaim that Mr. Martin, at some point, photoshopped pornographic pictures of you.
Yes. And I'm not sure when, because Derek found it and didn't tell me about it for a while because he was upset and he didn't want to upset me about it.
When did you find it, Mr. Jones?
That would have been after this first bogus stalking injunction he filed and lost.
Bogus?
He filed a fraudulent stalking injunction. He filed
stalking?
Against me.
So it was after that?
Mm-hmm.
And that was May of 2021? I'm trying to tell Mr. Martin, and I don't know how to make it any more clear to him, that his path going forward has to be putting a period, that in this whole scenario, you were the culprit.
I did not do what they're claiming right there. Absolutely, 100%. I did not.
You did not?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Let us assume, Mr. Jones, that you found on your car a pornographic picture that had been photoshopped with Miss Hancock's face and someone else's body. I'm assuming for a moment that that's true. Not that I have to look at it. I assume for the moment that's true. What proof do you have that Mr. Martin put that on your car?
Well, the problem is I don't have any proof of that, but he had put other signs up. I have a police report. He was hanging signs on my property. He got arrested for doing that and tased.
Okay.
I mean...
What I'm asking you specifically, that's what I'm particularly concerned about.
We couldn't prove it was him. We couldn't prove it was him.
Okay, fine. Do you have a new boyfriend?
No, I do not.
In what month was the protective order made final?
May of 2022.
Other than this experience, what happened?
Oh, there's a fly.
There's a fly. Oh, Mr. Jones, I'm expert at flies. That's not coming. You have an attitude, and you're not a baby. I mean, it's not as if you're 21 years old anymore. And if you have that within you, to have bad behavior against another person, that's there. Either you have it or you don't.
Brian Martin has accused his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Hancock, and her ex-boyfriend, Derek Jones, of keeping his personal property. Jennifer and Derek are countersuing, claiming Brian was harassing them.
Okay. Other than today's appearance, since that,
Yes.
Tell me when.
5/7/2021, we called the police.
No. Pay careful attention to my question, Mr. Jones. Between May of 2022 and today, have you had any contact with Mr. Martin?
Just his files, his claims. He keeps filing protective orders against me.
When was the last time he filed a protective order against you?
Well, he tried filing one a week before this, and I have that.
A week before what?
Before this case.
Okay.
And I have that police report. They told him no.
Okay. So they didn't allow him to file it?
That one. But he's filed several others.
I'm talking about between May...
Nope, that's the last one.
That was the last one. I'd like to see it, please, Kevin. Mr. Jones, do you have a protective order in your favor?
I've tried.
Not tried.
No, I don't.
You do not? Okay.
Your Honor, I have a video of catching him stalking my house, hanging signs. We submitted that. We also have the police report that he was arrested that day and tased.
And tased?
Yep. I have that report right here as well.
I'd like to see it. Mr. Jones, I'm going to go back to just May of 2020. Since May of 2020, have you had any contact with him? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
When?
He's submitted letters to my family. He has emailed me.
I'd like to see the letters he submitted to your family.
These are some. He said, oh, there's more. These were cease and desist
Just
letters.
1 second. Just 1 second. What's this?
Mr. Jones texted me a text that says tweaker.
He took it to my rental.
What are you giving me?
These are letters he submitted to my houses or my rentals when he was trying to find me.
Just a second.
This was in relation. Mr. Jones had a temporary stalking injunction in place against him on February 7th, 2021. On May 5th, 2021, he was served that stalking injunction, and that is when the incident with the Bountiful Police took place that you're reading right now. Mm-hmm. He showed up to where I was getting my oil change. In addition to that, he has sent Facebook messages to my girlfriend that she's
I'm
here
going
to
to
testify
tell you.
on.
I'm going to tell you that. You see how calm you are? Not him. You understand that? Not him. Probably not him, but definitely not him. And I'm going to just suggest to both of you that neither one of you want any other legal action. You already have a lifetime protective order issued against you in favor of Ms. Hancock. Yes. So I'm just telling you, I'd stay as far away from him, Mr. Martin, as I possibly could. Go a mile out of your way rather than go anywhere near where he is.
That's
fine.
That's what I'm doing
now.
Ma'am.
Mr. Jones, you have, and I've been around here for a long time, these kinds of buildings for a long time, you have an attitude I can tell you have an attitude. And things may have been bad historically, but you know your behavior wasn't perfect historically. You would agree with that with Miss Hancock, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
You would agree with that. Okay. And you're not a baby. I mean, it's not as if you're 21 years old anymore. And if you have that within you to have bad behavior against another person, that's there. Either you have it or you don't. And what I'm suggesting to you is that this is not going to be a good outcome if this animus continues. She's not your girlfriend anymore. He's got a new girlfriend. You don't have anything to do with him anymore. Nothing. If you have to travel a mile out of your way to avoid going anywhere where he gets lunch, coffee, a Jiffy Lube, or anything else, I would suggest that you do it.
I've done that. He keeps filing protective orders.
Good. Well, he can do that. So can you. And what I'm to try to temper it. If what you're going to do is to add fuel to this fire, then I think that it's really not a smart idea.
Just gonna, yeah.
The plaintiff will get his 47 videos back within 5 days. They will be dropped off at the local police precinct. What?
May I actually say there's only 21 that was ever given, so there's not 47.
How many do you have?
We have 19 of those games.
Okay, 19.
Yes.
You have any other property that belongs to him?
No.
No. Okay, we're done here. 19. 5 days. Police precinct.
This court is adjourned.
I'm disappointed because I've dealt with this man for over 2 years.
He's just jealous of my awesomeness.
I've moved on with my life. I have a new girlfriend, and I just want my things back.
Whatever. I just want him out of my life.
It's time to close the chapter. It's time to move on.
I never want to see him again. I never want to hear from him again.
People spend so much time with negative energy.
Oh, yes.
Sarah, the one thing that you and all other single people out there can take away from this case is that women are supposed to be smart. And clearly, she had a nose for bad boys.
Yeah.
Because according to what we heard, the reason she invited him to come and live with her was because the
different problem with a different
co-defendant, right, co-defendant, Mr. Jones, was really stalking her.
Mm-hmm.
And the same problem she had with the plaintiff. But stalking is an odd one. You have to be a little bit off to engage in stalking, to really terrorize somebody.
Especially to the level of legal action for stalking.
Yeah.
Because I know the standard for getting a restraining order, even a temporary one, is very high, the standard.
There has to be some pretty serious stuff that the judge reads. And he pled guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Jones also acknowledged that he had not treated her well. So it's always sad to me when perfectly reasonable women, sometimes because of their need to nest, will choose subpar mates.
I think it's more important to hold on to your own energy than to allow it to seep into these negative wells that will just run you dry.
You're out.
Tracked.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2030, Gordon versus Jackson Smith.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Gordon, you're a wedding planner.
Yes.
You called her to plan a wedding that you were having in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Is your husband?
Yes.
The wedding was scheduled for what date?
April 30th of 22.
Your lawsuit against the defendants is for the balance of a fee that you say is due and owing to you. Ms. Jackson and Mr. Smith are counterclaiming for a whole bunch of things. They said that not only didn't they get everything that they paid for, that you selected the venue, and they were ejected from the venue because they weren't allowed to have a wedding there or serve liquor. So what was your fee that you quoted the defendants, and how much of that fee did they pay?
My fee for planning the wedding was $4,000.
And that $4,000, was that fee reduced to a contract?
Yes, it was.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Ms. Jackson, this is your first wedding?
Yes.
And yours?
Yes.
Okay, your total fee was $4,000 and a deposit of $2,000. Did they give you a deposit?
Yes.
Okay, so they signed an agreement to pay you $4,000. How much did they pay you in total?
In total, for our planning fee, they paid...
No, in total, how much did they pay your company?
$2,000.
$2,000.
Correct. So how our company is set up is we're set up as an affordable payment plan for a wedding. So we set up our clients on a payment plan. So they also pay the expenses of all of their wedding through us.
So you have to send them an invoice for what it was that you spent for the vendors.
Correct.
Okay.
And then also the default of that contract states that if they miss payments, they have breached the contract.
That's why we're here. Each of you is accusing the other of breaching this agreement. You say that they didn't finish paying you what they owed you, and they say you didn't furnish the services to them that they signed up for the wedding. They gave you $2,000, and the wedding was supposed to be held where?
The banquet hall.
Did you send them a deposit?
No, because at that time she had not paid enough money.
Just a second. The answer is no. You had not sent them a deposit.
No.
Had they sent you the deposit of $2,000?
They sent me the deposit for our planning fee, yes.
I'm talking about for your planning fee, $2,000.
Yes.
And how much was the deposit for?
50% of $16,000, which was $8,000.
And where is the invoice for that you sent them?
I don't have that invoice because she was not able to secure the venue.
I read it. And from what I read in your complaint, the original venue that you secured, according to you, was rendered unavailable.
That venue because she could not keep up with the payments and did not submit money for a deposit. The second venue was the R&R Event Center. That venue she lost because a pipe broke in the venue.
Okay, just a second. R&R
Event Center.
And when was that taken?
That was booked on March 11th, 2022. And I do have the invoice for that.
And how much was it?
$2,250.
Okay, that's much better than $8,000. Okay. Did she put in a deposit?
Deposit was made from the monthly payments that she makes towards her wedding.
Show me invoices that you sent her every month.
Yes, I have that.
Well, I'd like to see them.
This is the statement of the account. It lists all the invoices that she was sent on a monthly basis.
So she paid you the $20,000 that was invoiced.
Her wedding cost a total of $23,600.
No, that's not what I said. Opening balance was zero. Invoice $20,451.57. Paid $19,356.57. That's what this says. Uncross your arms.
Correct. No, that's
okay.
That's
so
correct.
She paid for everything. Now.
No, she didn't pay for everything because, as I just stated, her wedding cost a total of $23,651.
Let's go back to, because I see that we're not getting anywhere. Before her wedding, before anything happened, before she said, I do, and before he says, I take you, she paid practically $20,000, which was your original estimate and her budget for the wedding. There's a second. That's either a yes or a no. Before the wedding, your original budget that you were given by the defendant, I read the papers, was $20,000.
So, and
that's either a yes, I read the papers, or a no.
Yes, that's the budget she stated she would like to stay around. But however, in planning a wedding, you cannot give an exact of how it's going to cost.
I didn't say that. I didn't, madam, pay careful attention to me. I've made 16 weddings. I've had 16 event planners. I know exactly how it works, and I know exactly that you can't always predict to the $100 or $50 or sometimes $500 how much more the wedding is going to cost. It never costs less. That's not what I said to you. I said by the time the wedding took place, she had paid the vast majority of the original amount that she said she wanted to spend for the wedding. And that is accurate. She said she wanted... just a second. So the answer is no. That's what she wanted to spend, exclusive of your fee.
Correct.
Now, of your fee, she gave you an initial deposit, or they did, of $2,000.
So...
That's either a yes or a no. She gave you $2,000. Did she ever pay you the other $2,000 for the fee? And the rest of the expenses that you want are the additional expenses over and above the $20,000 that... Stop shaking your head. Over and above what she originally said she wanted to spend.
Correct.
Now, I'm going to get to what happened just about a week before the wedding.
Okay.
You had booked a place. She had paid for the place, $2,250.
Yes.
And that was at R&R. According to you, something happened at R&R. Stop shaking your head. It's annoying. something happened at R&R. What happened at R&R and when?
Correct. The wedding was scheduled to happen on April 30th.
Tell me what happened at R&R.
I was informed by Rico, the owner, sitting on that side, that a pipe had busted and the venue would no longer be available for usage on her wedding date.
And on what date was that?
It was around the week before her wedding, or 2 weeks before her wedding, sorry.
Date?
I don't have the exact date.
You own, manage, or what, this R&R?
I'm the owner of R&R Events Center.
Okay, tell me your last name, sir.
Cox, C-O-X.
Do you remember having a conversation with the plaintiff about the venue?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember when it was?
March 25th of 2022.
Can you tell me what you said to her and what she said to you?
We had a conversation. I'm like, hey, problem with my venue. I had a pipe that busted. I won't be able to host their wedding. Well, the reception, I should say. So I informed her I can put her in contact with other venues that I may know, or I could send her back the deposit. She asked for the deposit back. I sent the deposit back probably within the hour.
How much was the deposit? $2,250?
No, ma'am.
How much was it?
$1,125, which was half.
So 50%?
Yes, ma'am.
So you sent her back the deposit?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive the deposit, Miss Gordon?
Yes, I did.
The wedding wasn't until April 30th. So you had plenty of time. Well, not plenty of time. You had time to look for a new venue, or else they were going to have to change the date.
Correct, and they found
Just
it.
Shh. What venue, you can sit down, Mr. Cox, thank you very much. What venue did you select? And had you ever used them before?
No, I had not. I never worked with a challenge budget like this for a venue.
If you don't like the budget, don't take the gig.
Yeah, I won't.
And that's where the reception was held. But that venue was not allowed to have this kind of party.
I was not aware of that until the day of the wedding.
That's your problem.
The entire time. The wedding was not closed until after the wedding had already ended. So they used the venue regardless.
Okay. Miss Gordon, it's your job as the event planner, which is what I don't understand you being here. It's your job as the event planner. They don't live in Las Vegas. That's your job to ensure that the place that you select is a venue that's capable of performing the duties that you outlined in your contract, which means they serve food, they're allowed to serve liquor, they're allowed to dance, they're allowed to host an event of how many people?
It was supposed to be 120, but all of my guests didn't get their invitation. So.
Okay, so over 100 people.
Your Honor, it wasn't that they were not allowed to have the wedding there. They were allowed to have the wedding there. What they were not allowed to do was the business was not allowed to operate after a certain time, and that is what the business owner produced to us.
Just a second. You want to show me a contract that she signed with that business owner? Miss Gordon?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I would like to see the contract that you signed with this business owner. Sarah, just for my own information, would you look up this venue, please? Tell me what you find.
Sure.
Miss Gordon, this space was a little less money than the previous space that you had selected.
Correct.
$500, $700?
Yes, and that's because they were not providing all of the things that the original event place was providing.
Was this event space that you booked at the end of the evening, I don't want to use the word raided, closed by the police? That's either a yes. Did the police arrive at this venue?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And what time did the police arrive at the venue?
They arrived at 9:30.
Is there a police report that anyone has?
No.
And how many parties have you done where police arrived at the end of an evening or during the course of an evening in the 2 years that you've been in Las Vegas?
Never.
And the police arrived at this wedding not because anybody was creating a disturbance, there weren't shots fired.
Well, no, that is why.
Wedding planner Tara Gordon claims her former clients, Beatrice Jackson and Nicholas Smith, owe for the balance of their wedding. Beatrice and Nicholas are countersuing for breach of contract.
Okay, police arrived at this wedding not because anybody was creating a disturbance, there weren't shots fired.
Well, no, that is why. They initially had a report because
I don't know that reason.
Because she can attest to the altercation that took place prior, which is why we were even brought up on the radar, because the other businesses in the vicinity of where the business takes place had complained. There was a lot of altercation back and forth outside of the event because she refused to sign the agreed upon payment plan to continue payments after the wedding.
You understand that I'm not particularly sympathetic.
I'm not.
I'm letting you know I'm not particularly sympathetic for the following reason.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody plans a wedding and has a budget of $20,000 plus your fee. So that's, say, $25,000 that they either put together or are saving up for a wedding, first for each. A week before the wedding, something happens with the venue, where the wedding could not be held at the venue of their choice. They're relying on an out-of-state wedding planner, that's you, to find a legitimate venue that is licensed to have an event. When they get to Las Vegas on the date of the wedding, you present them with a new contract.
No, that is not true.
When did you
have it incorrect.
Just a second. When did you give them? Because you said that the problem, which caused the police to come. Just a second. I don't understand.
Before I selected the very last venue, she was on FaceTime with me, looking at the venue with me, because I informed her I've never worked with this venue. I don't know anything about the venue. I told her that the best thing for her is to postpone her wedding. She was already behind in payments. This is her third venue.
Just a second. She paid you almost the entire $20,000.
She paid it in March. In March.
Doesn't matter. She paid you almost the entire
30 days before her wedding. That's what you're not hearing.
I'm not looking at you. Before her wedding, she paid you almost the entire amount of the $20,000 that she originally gave you as a budget before the wedding.
If you look at the contract, it says that you're going to make monthly payments so that we can adequately plan your wedding. You booked me back in 2021, almost a year before your wedding. The wedding was to be planned over the course of that year. The initial venue that I have worked with, that I know is reputable, she ended up not paying the deposit on time, so they had to move forward with another date. After that, I didn't get any payments from her until March, when she got her tax return. And then at that time, I was forced with less than 60 days to try to find another venue, in which I did, which was our event space. And then a pipe busted in that event space. And then I was forced to find another venue for her. I told her back in January, the top of the year, you need to postpone your wedding. Before invitations went out, before of all of that, when she was having troubles with her payment plan, I advised her as a professional, I think.
Cross your arms. You're the expert. You're trying to talk over me? You're trying to talk over me?
No, I'm not.
Good. So you're the expert. She's out of town. The reason that she selects a wedding planner in Las Vegas is because you're supposed to know whether or not the venue that you recommend is able to take care of the party you book. You may say to her, you may say to her, I don't know anything about the venue, but that's your job. You're supposed to know about the venue.
When I told her in the first place that she needed to postpone her wedding, that was my professional advice.
No, that's not what she hired you for, to tell you to postpone her wedding. She hired you to plan her wedding, not to give her advice whether or not. You're trying to talk over me. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You have to understand there are certain things that you did. Okay. You got out the invitations. That's a great thing. I assume you got a DJ. That's great. All of those things. The wedding itself, to me, was problematic. If my wedding ended with the police coming to the venue, and it turned out that the venue was one where you weren't allowed to have that kind of an event, I would be annoyed at the wedding.
They were allowed to have a wedding.
No, they weren't. The police officer.
The contract clearly states that.
I don't care what it states.
That's not what the police officer said.
And you know, because you have a police.
I don't care what it states. I don't care what it states. You started to tell me before that the reason the police came there is because there was an altercation about you giving her another contract on that date, and there were words outside, and people were complaining, other people who were in the air.
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
The night before her wedding, I explained to her.
I want to know what's happened on the date of the wedding. Just a second.
Can you let me finish so I can articulate?
I want you to go because I have a limited amount of time and I'm getting very old. I thought what you said to me, and you're going to read this back. is that the reason the police were drawn to the venue is because of the arguments outside.
Correct.
With, let's read that
That's
back.
what I just said.
That was on the date of the wedding.
Correct.
You got married, and you're happy, and you had people at the wedding.
You got a free wedding.
And you
$20,000.
You're almost done. Do you understand? You're almost finished. Go ahead.
We were brought up on the radar because the other businesses in the vicinity where the event took place had complained. There was a lot of altercation back and forth outside of the event because she didn't agree to sign the payment plan.
Okay. So the reason that was because there were altercations about this second contract.
No, that's not the contract we were having an altercation about. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Oh, just a second. On the day of the wedding, Miss Gordon, did you present her with a new contract to sign? That's either a yes or a no.
I did, but not for the venue. That's
It's not for the venue. I didn't say it was for the venue.
Yes.
On the day of her wedding, did you present her with a new contract? The answer is yes.
Yes.
You said you had discussed that with her the night before?
Correct.
And uncross.
Oh, sorry.
And the night before, did she agree to sign?
Yes, she
Just a
did.
second. A new contract?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And the new contract provided for what?
The new contract that she was supposed to sign
provided for what?
Provided for the remainder balance of the $23,681 that her wedding actually cost. Because she had only paid $19,000. You have the sheet, so I don't have the exact number.
$19,356.57.
Correct. So since she had only paid that amount and the total expenses for her wedding were $23,681. So the night before she agreed to make a payment plan with me to extend her payments beyond her wedding date to pay off this remaining balance.
And is that what she agreed to on the phone? Is that what you're saying to me?
Correct.
She agreed with you on...
Shh.
She agreed on the phone to pay you the additional $3,500 or $4,000, and she agreed to pay it over time.
Correct.
And that was Friday night.
Correct.
And then she got to the wedding.
Correct.
And at what point did you present her with the new contract? At what point in the event?
Upon her arrival to the reception venue.
Now, what happened when you got to the reception venue? You'd already gotten through the ceremony, so you're already married. What time did you get to reception?
So the reception was supposed to start at 5. It was supposed to start at 5, but when we got there, she wasn't even done decorating. All of my family stayed outside for another hour, including my grandmother, my grandpa. We waited in cars. Okay.
It was supposed to start at 5.
At 5.
This venue that I have here someplace, you have it?
I think it was supposed to start at 5:30 and end at 10:30 per the contract.
Okay. Thank you. Was it supposed to start at 5:30?
Yes.
What happened at 5:30, Ms. Gordon?
I presented her with the contract, and then she refused to sign it. Her guests were waiting outside because she was refusing to sign it. When she refused to sign it, because our agreement was she was going to sign the agreement before we started the reception. When she said that she did not want to start the reception, I responded and I said, we will pack all of this up and my staff and I will leave because now we're not being paid for our services.
What time did the police arrive? I spent $20,000 for a wedding, and my evening ended by the police having my guests leave. Furious.
Wedding planner Tara Gordon has accused her former clients, Beatrice Jackson and Nicholas Smith, of refusing to pay the remaining wedding balance. Beatrice and Nicholas claim Tara booked an illegal venue for their reception.
So, what time did the police arrive?
The police arrived at 9:30.
And did the police tell everyone to leave?
Yes, they did.
And told everyone that they had to leave?
They arrived and they told me that everyone had to leave.
Whether they told you or whether they told them.
Yes.
They said the place had to be clear.
Correct.
And that was an hour before the termination of the event.
So at the end of the event was...
The event was supposed to end at 10:30. Police arrived at 9:30. That's according to you. That's an hour short of the event time she was supposed to have at the venue.
So the event was supposed to end at 9:30. This is her timeline of events that was supposed to take place.
This is the contract.
That's the time that I have the venue too. I have to clean up. The agreed upon timeline is here. The wedding was supposed to end at 9:30, giving me an hour to clean up.
I'll take a look at what you have. I'm just telling you that this is the signed contract.
That's signed between me and the venue because they were giving me an extra hour to clean up.
That doesn't say that in here.
Because I booked it for a timeline. I booked it from 5:30 to 10:30. I outline everything that takes place. It ended at the last song of the night was at 9:30. And she went through the last song. We made it through the last song of the night on time.
Could I take a look at that?
I just can't wait till it's my turn.
Well, the last song of the night was supposed to start at 9:30.
Yes, and it started earlier because we made it through and she was done dancing. And by the time the police came, it was just mingling and dancing going on. So she had made it through her entire wedding reception is what I'm trying to state.
Yes, Mr. Cox.
Please.
Hey, Your Honor, I'm back. That's not true. The police actually came at 9 o'clock and...
Were you there?
I was the DJ.
You were the DJ?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
That didn't get paid.
Don't.
Oh, he got
Don't.
paid. He got paid.
Speak. So the police arrived at 9 o'clock.
That's correct.
And what happened when they arrived, Mr. Cox?
So
by the way, did you know them before the wedding?
No, ma'am.
Did you know? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him. She booked your services.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were your services for the night?
My DJing services were $500.
Were you paid?
No, ma'am.
What happened when the police arrived?
The police came, asked everyone to leave.
Do you know anything about this venue space where the wedding took place?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
It's a storefront.
So are a lot of venues in Las Vegas.
Your case is dismissed. Do you understand? This is not a free-for-all. As far as I'm concerned, you got almost exactly what her budget called for. And I have one vendor that wasn't paid.
Because she didn't pay. It's clear.
Well, how do I know that you paid the other vendors? At least I know one vendor that you didn't pay. And she paid almost $20,000.
They got paid because... Okay.
I have two things. I have one vendor that's here that wasn't paid. You were paid almost $20,000. The balance, part of it, is for your fee. Part of it is
my
for...
fee was not...
Are you saying that part of this money that you're suing for, this $4,000, was not part of your fee?
The $4,000 that I'm suing for is part of my fee.
Of course, that's what I said. So part of that money was for your fee, and part of it was for vendors. I have one vendor here who says he wasn't paid.
Well, I have receipts from other vendors if you like to see.
No, I know you had a lot of vendors, but you didn't pay him. He's the only
I didn't pay him
body.
because she didn't pay me. It's clear. She didn't pay me enough money to pay her venue. I have here proof of how much every item in her wedding cost, which exceeded the $19,000 that she paid. Clearly, she owes more money. That's the facts of the matter. She owes more money to
She's
what her wedding
countersuing you for ruining her wedding because you booked it at a venue that wasn't allowed to have a wedding. She's got a counterclaim for far more than your claim. Bottom line is, she picked a wedding planner, she picked a venue, she tacitly approved this change of venue. Both of you had to at the last minute, but you did that relying on the wedding planner to find a venue that was capable to hold the event. And it wasn't. It wasn't. That's your job. Your job is to find an appropriate place so that the police don't raid a wedding a half hour before it's over. That's not the way a wedding is supposed to end. So what I want you to tell me is you're suing her for $4,300. How much of that $4,300 is your fee?
$2,000.
And you didn't pay him?
No.
So that's $24 minus $500. You didn't pay him because you have to pay him.
I paid him.
Part of it was to pay him.
I'm deducting it.
Okay.
I'm not paying you for your fee.
Okay.
You booked the wrong space for your fee. So far, I have $1,825. Other than the DJ, who else didn't you pay? Mr. Cox, could you stand up, please? You seem to want to tell me something, and since you didn't know either one of these parties, I'm going to let you tell me. Do you know any other vendor other than you who wasn't paid?
The bartender also was not paid.
Bartender.
That's correct.
Which is his wife.
That's correct.
I don't care if it was his wife or not. It was the bartender.
Right, but what I'm saying was the bar was included.
How much were you supposed to pay the bartender?
the bar and the bartender came with him. He offered to do the bar and to DJ because his pipe busted. So what I'm saying is, he said, I'll bring my bar and I'll do a cash bar, meaning
that's because a bar you can't have for $500. So
Right,
we'll
but
do
he
a
was
cash
doing a
bar.
cash- correct.
Did you do a cash bar?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. So you made some money off the cash bar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Got it. Now you can sit. So what you paid him was $500 for both.
And $150 for the bar.
$650 total.
That's what he charged them outside of the wedding.
This is a very easy case for me. You were paid almost $20,000.
I wasn't paid anything. I was
Yes.
paid $2,000.
And I would feel doubly furious if on the day of my wedding, as a new bride of an hour, the event planner said to me, you can't go in unless you sign this contract modifying our first contract.
The contract was not to modify.
Your case is
the
dismissed.
contract.
We're done.
Okay.
This court is adjourned.
So you counterclaim.
There are some things that I realized that, I could have done better.
Basically, 10 days before the wedding, add additional $4,000 on top of $20,000.
That never happened.
It was just her way of just trying to come up on more money, in my opinion.
At the end of the day, she had got her wedding.
I'm actually sometimes surprised at professionals like this woman, who is an event planner, has a reputation. She was almost fully compensated for this event. And the wedding was, if it were my wedding, I would say, it's ruined by having a police shut it down. We had a wedding a month ago. What would you think if the police shut?
You would not be happy if you paid any amount of money to a professional and had that happen. I really thought it was outrageous.
The whole thing was just tacky, waiting outside the venue when she got there from the ceremony, and before she could go in, she had to sign the contract. That's really not what you do as a professional.
Bad business.
Bad business.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh hai cô nàng đang dạo phố nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Tô tóc màu nâu. Màu tím đầu váy của bạn này nha.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú hươu cao cổ bên cạnh hai cây cọ nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Tô màu cam vào đây.
tô màu xanh và mũ. Cây tóc mình sẽ tô màu xanh này. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh hai bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Bông hoa này mình sẽ tô màu đỏ sâu. Lấy màu xanh để tô thân. Là mình sẽ tô màu này. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú voi nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Mình sẽ lấy màu xám tô vào tai của chú voi. Sẽ tô vòi của chú voi cũng màu xám. Tô những bông hoa. Sẽ lấy màu hồng để tô vào tai. Hoa mình sẽ tô màu hồng này.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô nàng đang bế một chú mèo nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Tô nâu này vào tông. tranh. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô gái rất là xinh đẹp nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Tô tóc bằng màu xanh như vậy ạ. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh những chú mèo nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô màu vàng và chú mèo. Chú mèo này màu nào? Chị tô màu kem cho chị. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú mèo đang chơi với cuộn len nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Lấy màu nâu tô cho chú mèo. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú khỉ nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô chú khỉ màu nâu. Thế tô hoa màu này. Ừ.
Phải bị lại
không? Đó, đứa đâu? Nó xem đâu? Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú chó nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô nơ màu hồng. Mình sẽ tô màu vàng. Và mình sẽ tô màu đỏ. Mình sẽ tô màu xám vào lông. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một gia đình gồm 4 thành viên nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Chị tô tóc màu đen. Em cũng đi ánh màu hồng. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một người mẹ đang bế con nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô tóc hơn đây. Nào.
Nè Tôm, thôi. Thôi.
Tính cho nó xem.
Ra bên kia.
Mẹ nhá, người khác đang dùng cứ lấy.
Thế mẹ làm chuyện nào?
Em ơi, chị nói tự nó bong mà chị có cần nước nóng không? Chị đánh hoặc là ăn xong nó tự nó bong. Chị vừa mới ẩm lại. Cái này nó trắng lắm, trắng có màu trắng như không vậy. Đấy cái chị nó lên màu không? Cái của chị có lên màu không? Chị đang lo quá. Rồi thế á. Tức là như của chị nó có lên được màu cái gì? Nếu chị nhìn thấy chị thì nó trắng tinh, nó chẳng có gì. Tại vì chị tưởng là mọi người nó bong. Thế à? Chị tưởng mọi người nó bong ra thì nó rất là hồng. Ôi là nó đỏ luôn. Hoặc là nó chỉ nhạt bớt thôi. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh hai bé gái đang trồng cây nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu.
Wow. Xem Doraemon. Không xem chứ.
Judy không xem. Judy đâu.
Gì vậy? Bố mẹ tôi. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một đôi giày cao gót có gắn những bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô hoa màu này. Màu xanh để tô lá.
Mình sẽ lấy màu này để tô lá.